Today, for the very first time, I think for you as well, Chris, for the most part, and then you've listened to the whole thing.
Multiple times.
Wow, okay.
That's
Got
a
a
weird thing
Lulu
to
lover
say.
over here. For the very first time, a majority of us are going to listen to this nebulous thing that has existed, apparently, that is very controversial. This is Metallica's and Lou Reed?
Lou Reed and Metallica.
Lou Reed and Metallica's Lulu. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another album review / reaction here. You guys all know what's going on. We've had people saying, "Where's Hardwired? Where's Hardwired? Where's Hardwired? Where's Hardwired?"
You got the freaking weight.
Yes, because this guy over here thinks it's going to be hilarious for us to listen to Lulu. Now, I will say, in the last premiere video we did, so I just want to shout out to all of the, if this is your first video on my channel, know that we've been going through this year listening to all the Metallica stuff. We have a really awesome sort of Metallica-centric community that we're sort of building here, and a lot of that comes out when we do the premieres for these videos. So if you're here for the premiere, thank you very much. We can see everybody scrolling on the side. We can talk to those few people we've been talking to the whole time, whose names I'm starting to get to know, like Creeps and KDM or something like that.
Yep. KDM, Team Wolfie Soupy.
Tank the something.
I don't think Team Wolf was there last time.
He might have not have been for the Ride the Lightning.
Oh, I read a comment today that said he couldn't be there.
Yeah, but we've got people, and again, I've said a million times, I'm horrific with names, so don't be offended if I don't know your name.
If
but
this is the premiere, we'll be talking to you right now. If you talk, we'll talk back.
Exactly.
What is the table meme?
Oh my
I
God,
am the
we're
table.
gonna get there.
We'll get there.
All right.
So that's something we're looking forward to. I am the table, Botchamania. We all know Matthew and everything. It's great. But so like, yes, if you're unfamiliar with our channel, thank you for being here and trying this out. I know from doing all of the premieres and what everyone was commenting that this will actually be a lot of people's first time listening to Lulu with us.
That they haven't heard it before.
Yes, a lot of people
blows
said that.
my mind. It blew my mind so much when I heard that Chris Parker hadn't heard this yet.
I have heard, I think, at least one song. I don't remember a note from it, and I just know that I hate Lou Reed.
Well, I mean, fair.
See, I didn't know that much about Lou Reed at all either, but I was filming a video with my cousin Cody recently, and we were going, or actually, we weren't even filming a video. We were doing something else. And I was staying over at his place for a weekend. We were going garage sailing. Check out the video of all the cool stuff I bought that weekend. Should be out shortly after this video comes out. But we were talking about different records and stuff, and he pulled out a Lou Reed record. And I was like, Lou Reed? That's the guy who did that album with Metallica that we're going to be doing next. And he was like, oh, that's interesting. And I was like, what does Lou Reed sound like? And he said, basically the way he explained it to me was that it's kind of like Leonard Cohen.
Old man reads a book.
I mean, maybe it's like on like some part of the same spectrum as that.
That it's sort of like poetical, like lyrical.
But you like Leonard Cohen.
I do. I love Leonard Cohen.
I
Don't
Does
think I would
Leonard
like
Cohen
I don't think you're
talk
gonna
in
like
his music?
this.
Huh?
Does Leonard Cohen just talk in his music?
Oh yeah.
He sings, but he sings the exact same melody in every song he ever wrote. And he says why. He explains it all and stuff. But Leonard Cohen's amazing. But anyway, did Lou Reed have any big songs? Because his career
Werewolves
is
of
from like the
London.
60s all the way up to recently.
Yeah, there was. I guess that there were a couple albums. I was reading the wiki page. I don't know that much about Lou Reed, nor am
Werewolves
I
of London, I think, was his biggest one that I'm aware of.
I don't think that Lou. What?
Is that not
I
him?
need more tabs.
I don't know that
No,
song.
Oh yeah, you do. You know
Werewolves of London?
You know the. You know.
You just sang half the song by saying the name like that.
Werewolves of London.
Yep, that's the song.
You know the Kid Rock ripoff.
Which one's which Kid Rock song?
It was 1983, and I don't know. It's stupid. It's Kid Rock. The Velvet Underground was his big thing.
Sweet Home Alabama?
Walk on the Wild Side is that's the one that you're thinking of, but I understand why, right? Those songs probably came out in a similar decade,
That song.
at least.
Oh yeah, Werewolves of London has something in it that resembles melody, so it wouldn't be him.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was gonna just look at that song up and play it a little bit, but that's all right. We can.
He also has a song that he did with Metric on one of their more recent-ish albums. I'm saying like 2 or 3 albums ago.
Okay.
Called Wanderlust, and the first half of the song is awesome, and then Lou Reed starts.
Interesting. Okay, so just to finish the intro here real quick, I just want to say welcome to anybody who's new. Welcome to everybody who's back. Before we get too deep into everything, I want to point out just 2 things real quick. First, I am still recovering from long COVID, so if you've already in the video probably noticed me dabbing sweat off of me, it will be on me the entire time, unfortunately.
That's why somebody was saying you should get better in the comments.
Yeah.
Video.
It never shows up on camera, if that helps.
The sweat?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, thank goodness that we're not that high def yet. But anyway, so I just want to let you know I'll try as hard as I can not to cough. I'll keep beverages around and everything, and hopefully that will help. And if I have to later on, even though it might be slightly annoying, I may have to get a cough drop, but I can talk without it clacking my teeth and whatnot. So, and then the only other thing I wanted to mention before we get right into Lou Reed, because this is a long album and we want to get into it, is that I finally got new headphones. So these are my old headphones. I had them for so long. I fixed them multiple times myself. My old boss, who is like a soldering expert, fixed them once for me. And they are the reason I've had to use this extra cable, and the reason that I've had so many issues. If you've watched my video, I have to constantly keep, any of the videos on my channel, I have to constantly keep adjusting the cables so that I can hear everything out of both the left and the right ear. And so I bought the exact same headphones off of eBay. They're old. Obviously, Turtle Beach hasn't made this brand or this like specific model for probably 10 years at least. But I do have new headphones, so I'm very happy about that, and I shouldn't have to worry about fiddling with cables anymore. So that makes me extremely happy, and I'm excited that this is going to be the first real reaction I've done on my channel with them.
Wow.
So all right, let's get into it, because since we started doing this, there have been a few people who've been like, I can't wait till they listen to Lulu, right? Now,
And that's how they sound, and they love it when you talk about them with that voice.
You were right. You people were right.
When you guys listen to Lulu?
I'm so excited for Patrick to listen to Lulu.
right, and so there have
You actually like this album?
No.
Good.
Okay. Maybe either one of you. Have either one of you ever listened to the Captain Beefheart, possibly masterpiece Trout Mask replica?
Boy, that's a lot of fucking words. I have no idea what you're saying.
Okay, so no. Anyway, for whatever reason, it's not on the streaming service I use. I was going to listen to it the other day, kind of in preparation for this. I used to just listen to it every once in a while. It's this really weird album. Weird is like the only thing, and like sometimes I've listened to it and I've been convinced that this was the greatest thing that was ever recorded, and other times I've listened to it and I'm like, this is the biggest pile of trash. Why would anybody even bother with this?
Can you use that to gauge the mood that you're in? Like, oh, I fucking hate this album. I must be sick. Like,
I never did it. I never did it enough to like have that good of a reference point. But anyway, this is kind of like that. And just actually within the last year, I was texting with some of my friends while I was at work, and we ended up talking about Lulu. And I said, okay, well, who wants to start listening to Lulu right now and see who can make it through? And I listened to the whole thing while I was sitting at work doing work stuff. And I'm
really looking forward to this.
It's whatever. We're going to listen to it and find out. But I have some facts.
Okay.
Patrick didn't even want to look up the wiki, so he would be...
I didn't want to know anything about this at all. So like, that's one thing I want to say. Like, I have seen so many people make comments about this that are just like outlandish comments. Like, it's the worst thing that's ever been recorded. It's so terrible. I can't wait for Patrick's going to hate this. All these different things. And so like, I literally have no idea what to expect, right? I've just spent an entire year learning who Metallica is. Mm-hmm. And I just have no clue. Like, is this a metal album?
No.
Like, are we,
No.
What is it? If I have no clue what this is.
Old man reads book.
So it came out in 2011. It was recorded in 2011 and also came out in 2011, which is pretty quick for Metallica. And also like, and
Which
it's
is 2 years after Death Magnetic was released.
Oh, okay. That's
So,
and like they were on some awards show together. I'm trying to look at this somewhere. Lou Reed and Metallica were, and I guess that's where they got the idea. This album is based off some play that was by some guy. Lou Reed wrote a bunch of the stuff, and I guess Metallica did the instrumentals. I'm sure that people will tell me that I'm wrong on that, but that's what Wiki says. It doesn't really matter because what we're here to do is listen to it and talk about it. Anyway, I didn't know that it was about a thing. It's really surprising to me how few people, like, that people that listen to Metallica haven't listened to this. Like, I when it came out, I mean, I was just like always. I'm obviously not the world's biggest Metallica fan. I thought that I was like up there a ways, but after talking to all you guys, I understand that I'm not, and that's fine. But I was just captivated. It was like new Metallica day, so like you gotta go listen to it. I don't know if I listened to it the day it came out, but there was a single. That's another thing that's crazy. And if you really want an entertaining read after you listen to it, go read the reception section on the wiki page about how this was, because reviews. And it's all condensed down because it's wiki, but like it's hilarious.
I was going to say it has to be terrible.
I can't.
That
wait
has to be the
listen
reason
this.
why so many people have never heard it before, because the reviews were just so terrible when it first came out.
This one guy, boy, Pitchfork critic Stuart Berman assigned the album a rare 1.0 rating, writing, "For all the hilarity that ought to ensue here, Lulu is a frustratingly noble failure. Audacious to the extreme, but exhaustingly tedious as a result. Its few interesting ideas are stretched out beyond the point of utility and pounded into submission." Another guy says, "If the Red Hot Chili Peppers acoustically covered the 12 worst Primus songs for Starbucks, it would still be slightly better than this."
Holy hell.
What a review!
But there was one guy, this guy named J.R. Moores of Drowned in Sound, gave the album a perfect score of 10 out of 10, praised the album of the second best record ever made in the history of the human eardrum, and he thinks that the first best recording was was, I guess, the big Lou Reed album, Metal Machine Music. But he wasn't joking. He actually really likes it. Anyway, it's just,
Who puts that review on Wikipedia? Like, that is a crazy person. That's a ravings.
well,
a
I mean,
lunatic.
the extremes of both, I guess.
but I guess he was notable
Yeah.
because he was like the only person that was willing to go into print saying that he really liked it.
Well, that was bold, Cotton. That was a bold move. And I admire his...
Yeah. There was a
Chutzpah.
single, The View, whenever we listen to that was supposed to be, what the goes to be a single on this record
set
for?
track 2.
Ah,
So we'll get there soon. I'm legitimately excited to listen to this. I can't
am
wait to hate the
too.
shit out of this.
I
out
am
loud,
too. I don't know what
over and
to
over.
expect. I literally have no idea what to expect. So many people, including Chris now, has mentioned that this is just like talking. So I'm just guessing that this is like a narration thing.
Much more than that.
So like, I don't know. But I also know at some point James is going to go, "I am the table." And I know that that's going to happen.
Okay.
That's from this. That
I didn't
meme's
realize
from
that.
this.
That's great.
Yeah. So,
Well, shall we dive right in?
well, first I want to get a drink. So hold on one
course.
second and we'll be right back. Everybody look here on the table that you really probably can't see. Okay, so for today's video, people might be asking what kind of Mountain Dew goes with Lou Reed. Instead, we have a Monster Energy
Some
drink.
kind of monster, which really would have worked out better for that.
You know, you can't win them all.
That's true.
However, I want to say I'm excited because I've never had a Monster Energy drink before. So
I've been trying to decide whether or not I think you would like it.
this is going to be my first time ever trying it. So
I love the white ultra ones. Those are the best.
that's what he texted.
No, that's what Chris said.
Oh, that's what you
I said.
texted me.
Yeah,
cool
I'm telling you
Chris said.
again.
All right, here we go. I'm going to try it. It says B vitamins right on it.
Yeah, I like Monster. I think it's fine.
Is it better than the Mountain Dew from the last video?
No, Patrick would never say that anything's better than Mountain Dew.
No, that wasn't. It was a voodoo, and it wasn't the best. My second drink was better. I know. I'm gonna conserve it. I'm not gonna chug the whole thing right now.
Yeah, that's a bad idea.
Good idea. I mean, you'll never sleep again, but that's fine.
The more I drink it, the more I'll probably like it.
I agree.
So I'm not gonna trash it. All right, but we will probably trash this. So everybody, I know this is something that a lot of people have been looking forward to. I know a lot of people like it when we talk for a half hour at the beginning of the videos, but we're just not going to do that here because we need to get into this.
Write that down in the comments. I want proof.
Yeah, let us know.
Let us know if you
People
actually...
do. I get comments all the time that are like, I really like how you guys have like a good rapport and you talk about things and it feels like you're just hanging out and stuff.
Bro, it does. Well,
Did you leave that comment?
There was some comments about how it seems like somebody was telling us that it's obvious that we're friends.
Yeah,
and
I
that
think
we've
that's
known
good.
each other for a long time. And that's what it is. I've actually never met Chris Parker in person.
That's true.
Is that
Isn't
true?
it? I think it is.
I don't think that. I think
Unless
that's
you guys
not
were both
true.
at the studio maybe once
We were
together.
both at the studio at least once.
What did we do?
Sat there.
Did we listen to something?
Probably, yeah. I think in the back room.
I've met
Probably
Chris
made you
Parker.
listen to Kaiser's Orchestra or Birthday Massacre or something.
I think we might have been listening to
Oh, there's
that
a new
Primal
Birthday
Waters
Massacre
album.
record.
Oh, we
I
could have
saw.
been listening to Primal Waters. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I could have been showing him some of the Primal
If
Waters
it was
stuff.
the last record, then that was probably really cool.
Yeah.
Because that record was good.
That probably would have been like anywhere from 2010 to 2013.
Yeah, so that wouldn't have been the last one.
It wouldn't have been the last
It would
one.
have been the middle one or the first one.
Yeah, maybe the EP.
But anyway,
Anyway.
it is very nice when people say things like that, and those are usually the comments that I give hearts to. And I was going to have a few more things we talked about at the beginning of the video here, but we're not going to do that. Before we get to the music, the last thing I want to say is that everybody who's watching this, you're probably watching this because you're a big Metallica fan. We're going to be doing a very special video for Halloween. I love Halloween. We're going to be dressing up in costumes. We're going to have a really great time. We're going to be listening to a Rob Zombie album. It'll be the first Rob Zombie album Present Chris has ever heard. It's going to be, I believe, the first time Chris Parker has heard a vast...
Cool, Chris.
Cool, Chris. That'll be the first time he's heard a vast majority of the songs, if not the entire thing. And so I'm very looking forward to that. I'm putting a lot of extra effort into that video. So make sure that if you're watching this video, you check my channel around Halloween time, or if you can, do the premiere with us. It's going to be a really special premiere. Make sure you check out our special Halloween Rob Zombie reaction video. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, Lou Reed. Lulu. I remember when this came out, I was working at Hastings at the time. I remember seeing it there, and that's all I remember. Are you ready, Chris, to listen to track 1?
I am.
Brandenburg Gate. Okay, 3, 2, 1. The most well-played acoustic guitar ever shown up on a Metallica album.
You sure about that?
That's probably James, right? Because he's smashing it for no reason. Can't play softly.
I would cut my legs and tough when I think of Boris Karloff and Kinski in the dark of the moon. It made me dream of Nosferatu, trapped on the Isle of Dr. Moreau.
I'm so glad he's dead.
Oh, wouldn't
There's melody
it
there.
be lovely?
This is pretty cool so far. I'm not gonna lie. Some people did say that they legitimately thought this album was produced really well.
So far, it's doing all right.
It's not all high. It's got mid-range, unlike Death Magnetic, so...
I was thinking Peter Lorre when things got pretty gory as I crossed to the Brandenburg gate. I was feeling snappy, perhaps I'd been napping if I'd just stayed.
Old man escapes from insane asylum, sings into record.
Tear you apart on a midnight TH ship. A graveyard romance can only give one chance. As a
The drums actually sound really good.
They do, but they do also sound like Lars, which is a really interesting thing for that to be true about. Shut up!
It's like he's in a different song.
It is.
Forever and ever. He showed up, he doesn't know the lyrics, he's trying to mimic like a kid.
I mean, James also sounds like he's down the hallway.
Yeah, really far away.
I
you think they just had a microphone on James while he was playing his guitar track?
I don't know. The rest of it all sounds like first take stuff, doesn't it?
Well, I'm wondering.
The rrhythm guitars don't
If
line
it was
up at
all recorded and released in the same year, maybe they did it just live in the studio.
The normal feelings of the nighttime reeling. Some accident struck so late. My small town girl. I'm just a small town girl.
I never thought I'd hear someone struggling so much to sing more than James Hetfield when he's singing Ride the Lightning. That's the most struggling I've ever heard anybody do until I heard Lou Reed here.
Me, I'm happy 'cause I got my little nappy and some old people just let me stray. I'm just a small town girl who wants to give it a whirl. While my lips still hold me straight.
The guitars sound great too. They're not played
They do.
very well, but
They do sound
great.
Yeah, they're a little sloppy.
Fantasy's fusion of reality mixed with trade. I'm just a small town girl who's gonna give life a whirl. Looking at the Brandenburg and I'm just a
Lou Reed's voice is recorded and processed beautifully.
I mean, it's really low in the mix.
That's true.
Lou Reed?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, you can hear it in there, but it's not like lead vocal volume.
I don't know if I would agree with that. I think it sounds great. The sound quality. I think the performance is.
I think
what
the
it
drums
is.
sound phenomenal. Okay, I assume that's track 1.
Yep.
Wow. Okay, well. When
You know what that's
first,
like?
Tell us, please.
When you go to the arcade and there's a game that you walk up to and it's doing its little demo thing that it does, and then you just sit there and you like pretend to play it, and you're like 6 and you're just like moving stuff around and hitting buttons and it's not actually doing anything. Metallica is the arcade machine and Lou Reed is the little kid with the controls.
I can see that. Now, when it first started and the strumming acoustic guitar, and then he started and there was melody there, and I was like, oh, if this is how it's going to be the whole time, I could get into this. And then for some reason, it changed, and Metallica started, and I was like, oh, that's okay. And then, with no rhyme or reason at all, yeah, he was just saying random words.
I guess it's based on a play, because I don't know.
Well, if there's one thing we've discussed before, it's how theater music, theater performance, theater writing is the worst thing on the planet.
No, that's not true.
That's not true.
It is true. It is true. If it's meant to be performed on a stage, it should never even be put on the page.
See, I get where you're coming from, but I've had some experience with musicals lately, and I'm not a guy. I don't like them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like.
They're growing on me a lot.
Seek them out, but they've grown on me a lot. Part of the thing is with musicals is that you have to embrace the cringe. I don't think
you do. I think that
you already like enough cringy stuff, Patrick. You don't have any more room for any more cringy
maybe.
stuff in your life.
I just don't think if you have to smile while you're singing, that's
That's how you get the high frequencies to come out.
It's not how you get any high. It's terrible.
It is.
It looks stupid. It's a throwback to a time before people knew how to act in movies, so they just acted the way that they acted on stage, over dramatically, and that's when you get, like, oh, and
You think
women
people still do
fainting
that
and
in
stuff.
musicals now?
Yes,
No.
yes, I do. I think that's how all musical dialogue is written.
Okay.
Yep.
And you'd know because you partake in so many.
I know. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
You could call me an expert.
I'm glad that
I've read Cursed
I
Child.
didn't think that Chris Parker and I would come to agree on what we think about musicals tonight.
Yuck.
Yeah, I used to be never as extremely anti-musical as him, but I did have a hard time, and they've really grown on me over the last several years.
I'm not saying there's no good musicals because they made
you sure?
some. Yeah, because they did make some terrible musicals into great movies, right? Sweeney Todd, The Demon Barber of Fleet Street.
That movie,
Phenomenal.
Have you seen that live on stage?
Nope, don't care to. It's
Then what do
stupid.
you know?
I don't want
Then
to.
what do you know?
I want to see the movie where they use buckets of blood and amazing CGI, and the music is phenomenal. I love it. It's great. Chicago, phenomenal all the way through. Every song, great. Acting, great.
You think the songs are good?
Yeah. Lipschitz, Yeah. He had it coming. He had it coming. He only had himself to blame. If you'd have been there, if you'd have seen it, I bet you would have done.
I saw Lion King on Broadway in 2002 in New York City, and it would beat the shit out of out of every version of that movie every time.
First of all, that's a stage play based on a movie. So that's cheating
it's
right
not.
away off the bat. It wasn't a stage play first.
It wasn't a movie first.
Well, it was the Odyssey, which is what the Lion King was based off of,
The Odyssey?
right? Isn't that
No,
what
that's
it is?
what Brother Art that was based off of.
Well, I know that too. Yeah.
Right.
Actually, it was stolen from that Japanese mountain lion or whatever, the cartoon thing. But anyway, it was the movie first, right? The Lion King.
I don't know.
Was it Disney?
It wasn't created as it wasn't original
No, but
screenplay.
Patrick is right. Like I'm fairly
Yeah.
certain that the stage adaptation.
I mean,
was
yeah,
based off
'cause,
the
you know,
movie.
That's
in the
like
stage
telling
edit-
me that like Shrek the musical's great. Sure,
I
Shrek
would
the
never say
movie's
that
great.
because Shrek the movie is not great.
No,
Shrek the movie is not great.
You're gonna get murdered on the internet for that.
I will murder you.
Good. I cannot.
Shrek is one
It
of
has
my
been
favorite
miserable
movies
to
of
watch
time.
all of the Shrek memes take over all of the memes that were good and funny. That, and of course you like Shrek. You love fucking Smash Mouth so much. R.I.P. What's his face?
Yeah, the guy from Smash Mouth.
Dude, what would have been
died
really
like 2 weeks
cool
ago.
is if that they would have actually let the guy from Eve 6 be the singer of Smash Mouth. He tried out.
I loved Eve 6.
You want to do Eve 6 sometime?
Yes.
Patrick's probably never listened to an Eve. What's your favorite record?
Whichever one has Open Road song on it.
Okay, that's not the one I like. I like Horoscope. Horoscope's my favorite one.
I have to look and
I
see
think
which one it is.
Patrick
It's
would
been a
really
minute.
actually like Horoscope.
I have both of their albums.
There's not just two.
Well, I have the one with the fly and the one with the colorful lady.
Yeah, okay, those are the two.
The two that matter.
The two vintage ones. And
Remember, we
the stuff
talked
that
about
they've been-
this.
did we?
The one that you would swallow the wine, talk on the whatever, but the lack
Yeah.
thereof would leave us empty
That's
inside.
from the Fly record.
Swallow our doubt, turn it inside.
Yeah,
out.
that's a great song.
Dude's hilarious on Twitter.
Here's to the night we felt alive.
That one's on Horoscope.
Remember, Chris, when we were
That's
talking
prob-
about. Remember
That's
when we
probably
were.
the album I'm thinking of.
Remember when we were talking about how Demon Hunter's first single, Injected, the chorus sounds just like the dude from Eve 6?
It really does. I think it's infected.
I'm infected with you.
It does, and I didn't notice that when it came out.
already. Tell me before I go. This is just me singing.
That's actually pretty good.
But musicals suck and whatever. So, okay, that was really. You know what else sucks? That song, because Lou Reed was ruining it the whole time he was.
It was.
I almost forgot.
Come on, like the guitar playing and like the fact that it was like a first take, and they're like they wrote out a chord chart, and they're like, all right.
Except for
let's-
these
whatever.
10 things, this wasn't bad.
Well, I will say honestly, for me though, I will say I didn't notice, and maybe I was like focusing a little too much on his voice. If that's how the whole album is, then I think what I'm going to have to do is just pretend that Lou Reed is like a poorly played percussive instrument, and just ignore him the whole time.
Which is not
Just a broken hurdy-gurdy.
Just some terrible, the guy in the band who's there because his mom funds everything, so they gave him the tambourine. That's Lou Reed, but
like half the guys in Slipknot.
Oh, boy.
Come at me, bro. I mean,
Hot takes left
I've never
and
heard a
right.
Slipknot album, so I can't.
you're not missing much.
So anyway, I didn't notice anything wrong, like in terms of like, but again, you're way more of a musician, guitar player. It's hard
It's
for
just
me.
so loosey goosey, and you know that it's
Yeah,
Metallica.
yeah.
and
There's no structure to it. He just says the same thing over and over, and they go, wah, 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 and that's it, it's over.
Definitely, like there was no structure.
He
or
says
whatsoever.
small town. Like James sings "Small Town Girl" like 40 times.
He
Yeah.
does.
So it was just very
So
repetitive
that's
in that
like
regard.
the thing that comes back.
Yeah, well, it never goes away really. It has to go away in order for it to come back. But yeah,
It is interesting that, it keeps you there. I guess.
I don't know.
But it's interesting though, a little bit.
Recording this kept me there.
that Metallica has had such problems with their album sounding good.
But
And
this
then
is the
here
one.
is this, like,
Yeah.
spoiler alert, this is sort of a hot turd of a record. But the sounds are pretty good. Like I was saying, like I think actually like the sound quality of Lou Reed's voice, I think it's very nice. I think
It does sound really good.
I think that it was recorded and processed very well.
Okay.
Patrick doesn't think it's loud enough. I think he's wrong.
I thought it was, well, I mean, at the beginning, I thought it sounded fantastic before Metallica came in.
But like the
And
way
I'm
that
sure
it
that's
sits
how
on
it
top of the
sounded.
guitars or within the guitars, but it's still hearable. Like, listen, God, Lord, Christopher, the words.
You're
It
sitting
sits
here with me.
nicely in the mix. The compression and the EQ and the recording is good. And the drums sound really good, and the guitars sound really good, which is more than you can say for a lot of Metallica records.
That's absolutely true, and that's why it's
Although
so
what was
It's
the
really
la-
interesting how you can tell that it's Lars playing drums just from how they sound. It's like the best his drums have ever sounded, but you hear it and you go, "That's Lars," and I don't know why that
The
is.
snare is pretty ringy, which is a Lars thing.
Yeah, he obviously likes it that way based on, saying air.
Yeah.
So
Anyway,
let's listen to track 2 and see. I'm hoping that there's a little variation between songs, and that this is the single,
this is the single. Why?
the
Why?
big single, "The View," that inspired the hit morning show with whoever it was,
Yeah. They weren't going to do it until they heard this song.
Whoopi Goldberg.
That's
This is
right.
the show that they play when they come out at the beginning of the show before they start
Yeah,
broadcasting.
season 1. This was the theme song for The View, and I can't
All
wait
right.
to hear this and see how
All
that
right.
fits into. the
Ready,
narrative.
Chris?
Yep.
3, 2, 1.
Kick sounds awesome.
Yeah, it does.
Love that.
Yeah.
Am a chorus of the voices that gather up the magnets set before me. I attract you and repel you.
He sounds. This guy. He has to have done stuff on a Gorillaz song,
Blood and meaning.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
because there's a Gorillaz song where there's this guy talking just like this.
The coldness of most beauties is a challenge that our youth must quickly conquer. There is no time for guilt or second guessing based on feelings. I am the truth, the beauty that causes you to cross your sacred boundaries. I have no morals, some think me cheap, and someone who despises the
Yep.
normalcy of heartbreak, the purity of love. But
Why would anybody do this to their music? There's so many bands that have had a Lou Reed spot. And it's like, why?
Everything else.
Metallica's like, you had him feature for a song. We'll see that and raise you an album.
Your life of reason. I want you on the floor and in a coffin, your soul shaking. I want to have you doubting every meaning you've amassed like a fortune. Oh, throw it away for worship someone who actively despises you. For worship someone who actively despises you. I am the root. I am the progress. I'm the
All right.
aggressor.
Saying I'm the.
I am the tablet. These 10
Almost.
days.
At least the music's not like super interesting. You know what I mean? Like it's cool, but it is more of like a backing track.
Oh, yeah.
What do
know
you
I
think
mean?
was
Like,
written
it's
first?
meant-
The lyrics
it's
or the
made
music?
for this.
Pain and evil have their place. Sitting here beside me.
I bet the lyrics came first, but it's performed like the music came first.
Oh yeah.
And Lou Reed's just like, well, I've got all these lyrics, so I'm just gonna fit them into whatever you play.
That's how talking over music always sounds, though.
Right.
guitar sound.
No joke.
You'll hear a lot of that in Rob Zombie. Just like non-discriminant, like not notes necessarily, just like sound
But it's
effects
cool there.
with guitars.
Every meaning you've amassed like a fortune, throw it away.
Oh, he almost did a song there.
Who actively despises you. Who actively despises you.
This is like a chorusy part. He said that earlier.
I am the view. I am the table.
He,
I am the view. I am the table.
if they do something,
I am all this. I am the root. The progress. The aggressor. I am the table. I am the 10 stories. I am the table. I am.
stop doing that.
Every time he says it, I picture dudes not going through the table. Remind me to explain the wrestling meme when this is over.
Oh no, it's becoming a song.
I kind of hope that like Hardwired sounds a little bit like this, sonically.
Oh, sonically it might. I'll have to listen to it.
A lot of
Again.
people were saying that they're excited for us to do Hardwired because they think it's Metallica's best sounding album.
I love that album.
Someone has to have gone through and removed Lou Reed, right, from this?
Yeah, he has a bunch. He's like 2 or 3 more verses here. They just cut him out.
No, I just mean like on YouTube, you can go listen to the whole album minus Lou Reed.
Probably.
Is that the okay? I will say,
No wonder that was the single.
yeah, that was much more of a song.
Yes.
Much more
And
of
it
a
only
song.
became a song when Lou Reed shut the hell up.
You know, I didn't mind his part as much there. So
How can you say that?
well, so here's the
That was worse than the first one.
Here's an interesting thing. I disagree. I think that had more rhythmic like meaning to it, and I was trying to listen to what he was saying, and it was stupid and didn't really make sense. But he repeated certain parts right before James came in, and so like there is thought being put into what's being said where, so that there is somewhat of a structure.
That is one of the things that I don't hate about this, and what I don't hate about some things like this is that while I don't like think that it's like fun to listen to, like I like to listen to most music, but it's interesting that when like somebody is just trying to like fit words over music, because they do, like it's rhythmically related.
Yeah.
But like the phrasing and stuff, it's interesting. It like, I think that's probably why people, and I guess to a degree I am people, like hearing like weird jazz improvisations and stuff, because it's like, it's kind of cooler with a human spoken voice.
Beat poetry. Which is similar but also different.
I want to go on the record about poetry right now.
Okay.
Poets are just lazy people. You forgot to do the second half of the work,
Which is the song part?
which is the music part. You just quit halfway through, and not even halfway through. You did the easy part, and then you're like, screw it.
As far as we're concerned here on my YouTube channel, all theater programs can just get shut down.
Nope.
Theater, poetry,
Wrong.
all that can just get shut down.
All wrong.
Poetry is just for lazy people. So you do
Poetry
the poetry.
doesn't have a program.
Yeah, there's no poetry program. Anyway, theater is fine.
Oh,
Theater
where are
is
you going to
good.
learn about Robert Frost and all that stuff? Ernest Hemingway.
Those guys were lazy pieces of shit.
They wrote books, didn't they?
Who cares?
Hey, I can
James Hetfield has written books worth of lyrics, and he was not lazy. He also had to write intros and outros and play different guitars.
What
and
about
write
poetry
harmonies.
that doesn't rhyme?
That's even worse. Dr. Seuss is like actual poetry, and then the rest of it.
Dr. Seuss doesn't rhyme, does he?
I think well, first of all, I have a lot of thoughts. First thing I want to say is
Or
that,
write the rest of the book. Like, you can't, it's just incomplete sentences. Like the stuff that doesn't rhyme and doesn't have like a defined meter, like that's why Dr. Seuss is good, because you read it and you're like, this is how this is supposed to go.
Right.
The cat in the hat and but the stuff that's just like incomplete sentences, like are you just too lazy to hit the period key?
The thing we're failing to take into consideration is, and I think that we would all agree here, poetry and theater are performing. They're performing mediums of a time long ago, right? Before there were recordings, before there was any kind of music other than orchestral music, right? When people were dying of the plague, right? The Black Plague, you went to the theater. You saw people speak and do recitations, and you listened to an orchestra play, and you went to the theater to see operas and tragedies and things being performed, right?
Sure.
The thing is, all that should have all stayed there. Once we had the technology to start actually making good different forms of media, we don't need to go back to those old styles of performance.
I will agree with you on the poetry. I mean, poetry should have never existed, because those guys should have just picked up the stupid lute or a drum and done it correctly.
Right.
But theater, I would argue, one of the things that I like about some live theater, and I especially like mid-budget theater, the high-budget stuff, I don't like.
Like not a high school, but a college.
Yeah, and also not like touring Broadway stuff.
Community theater.
Because part of the reason that I like to watch even live music is like, can you guys actually pull this off live? And that is one of the exciting things about watching theater. And I had the glorious opportunity and privilege to work for a musical last spring, and I watched the same show 7 or 9 times in a week, and it was fascinating to watch that show so many times. I liked the show, and I thought that the performances were very good, but it was very interesting to me as a production person to like pick up on the little things that were changed. And I knew when somebody missed a line, but 98% of the audience didn't, and I thought that was super interesting. But
right. I don't seek theater, but every time I've gone to a play for whatever reason, if I've walked out of there like, man, that was awesome, that rules. Like the fact that anybody can, especially people who, when they get up on stage and there's almost nothing for them to work with, and they just make it exist via acting alone. Like that is crazy.
That is really cool.
So
when you have
good.
like a really sparse set, and like, but when you're watching it, you're like, oh, I know that you're in the graveyard, or I know that you're at a school, and like, I think it's interesting. When I watch it on film, absolutely not. But
I'm not saying that those people aren't talented. I'm just saying that they should be directing their talents towards something that mattered instead.
yeah,
Like that's
why.
that's a
But
Patrick
however-
hot take.
however-
Patrick hates live anything.
Yeah,
Patrick doesn't
I
like
do.
it when things aren't made for him.
I don't like performances, really. I just want something to be perfect.
You are unique in that.
Yeah, and that's totally whatever. And we're also all kind of being a little bit funny. But I do want to say that
I'm trying to be very funny.
the I am the table thing in wrestling, I have known about the I am the table for years and years, because in wrestling, when someone's supposed to go through a table, but the table does not break, someone shouts, I am the table, because it's like the table didn't break, right? So it's become a huge thing at every show ever. If the table does not break, everybody just yells, I am the table. And it's this big thing. And so when you watch Botchamania, which is one of my favorite wrestling YouTube channels, it's everybody that loves wrestling loves Botchamania. It's this guy named Matthew with 2 F's, who goes and collects footage from all around the world, wrestling and stuff. And it's when the wrestlers mess up or screw something up really bad. Could be flubbing a line. Could be you hear something you're not supposed to hear. Could be someone breaks their neck because they fall on their face. They do different things. He puts all of those into these long videos. And then they usually end the videos with a ton of Simpson references, which is why I've sent some of that stuff to you in the past, Chris.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, wrestling and Simpsons memes are like hand in hand. Like they go, the most Simpsons content I've ever seen is through all of these wrestling. But anyway, the I am the table thing is a huge meme. And I've heard that clip of James going, I am the table. Like just that little 2 seconds of the song. I've heard it hundreds of times.
That's all anybody wants us to listen to. We could end the video right here.
Well, we may end it. We may end it sooner. If every song is like this, we might not even bother with the second half. But the other thing I want to say is that a lot of albums I have in metal, I feel like it's really common to have spoken word in stuff because you're telling the epic part of the story. Right? Like usually, like a lot of my symphonic metal albums, they'll start and you hear, the album starts and you hear some like strings and stuff and some person with a very thick Icelandic or Swedish or
Yes.
Norwegian accent comes on and goes, the great northern waves crashed against the wall of the castle as the Black Knight rode into the town on a frosty morning, you know, something like that. And then, da-dum! The knight reached the town square. You know, whatever. They'll do this baloney for like
Patrick
a minute.
says he hates theater. Did you guys see
You
all
don't. No, man.
I didn't.
That was the most theater kid thing I've ever seen.
Everybody knows that
anybody
I'm
do.
very theatrical. Okay, I'm not trying to sell myself on stage.
Which
okay?
would somehow be able to continue existing if all theater was shut down forever.
I like
from
how
the
we're all
beginning
trying
of
to
time.
enunciate very well now because Patrick just did such a good job of it.
I don't care. I'll marble mouth my way through everything I'm about to say.
Hey, I was really impressed with
was
myself
very
for
good.
doing that. That was like freestyle rapping, which is something I'm not very good at.
What I don't understand is how you have bitched so much about different songs with talking in them, and suddenly this isn't so bad. And let me tell you about all the symphonic metal I love where people just speak.
Well, hold on. First of all, you didn't let me finish because I was going to say I hate all those parts of the symphonic metal records when they do that. because no, I do. It's stupid, especially because if you're going to record spoken language and you clearly English is not your first language, just speak it in your native tongue. That's a billion times cooler to us dumb Americans, which is I'm sure the audience you're trying to reach anyway, right? Just
Do you know how many Americans would never listen to something if they didn't understand it?
Yeah.
I know that, but it's way less cringe to hear someone speaking in their native language than trying to sound epic and all like performing aspect-y, and they can barely speak the words in English. I'm just saying that's kind of
I'm
silly.
not necessarily against this thought. yeah.
Hire an English person, an English voice actor to do it then and make it sound epic. Like get Ian McKellen or something to do it if you're a big band like Nightwish or something. You know, but Nightwish has all these talking parts in their songs, and for them a lot of it is like in their recent years they have like these whole like 30-minute songs, and they're all based on like something that a speech or a talk that like Carl Sagan gave. And so then like they use parts of Carl Sagan interview or whatever in it. And then when they perform it live for their DVD, Carl Sagan comes out on stage and does it with them. Like that's like a big thing that they did for their last album.
Boy, how did they get him out of the grave?
Who is this?
Carl Sagan.
Maybe it wasn't Carl Sagan then. The guy that talks about the cosmos and universe and stuff.
Well, that was Carl Sagan, but
It
now
was
it's
Carl
Neil
Sagan. Now it's Neil
deGrasse
deGrasse Tyson. Yeah.
Oh, maybe it was Neil deGrasse Tyson. I don't know that much about all those philosophy dudes, but
He's an astrophysicist, but okay.
whatever. Okay, I don't know anything about that. Just means I just don't. That shows it. I don't know that much about that stuff.
Who? What band are we talking about?
Nightwish and specifically did that. But again, they're like a lot of bands do that kind of a thing where they kind of like they continue the Primal Waters did it where you continue the story in like a really blatantly obvious way, you know, because the words of the lyrics of the song are all nebulous and like, you know, whatever, but then you need to advance the story. So during the bridge, you're like, you know, whatever. He grabbed the sword pulled it from the stone and stabbed it into the belly of the beast, and the blood poured forth, and the whatever, you know, like. Then he moved on to the cave, and as he entered the cave, he heard the witch screaming. And then you go into like verse 3 and the chorus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I
and
do.
so it's like stuff like that. I hate. I don't like it when bands do that.
Do you like it when there's narrators in movies?
Yes.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
But a movie's a different medium. So now all that out of the way. All of that I say.
So what if you had a video of someone narrating a song?
What if you had 3-hour videos of people narrating Metallica music?
You mean like if like if there was a a music video for this and you saw Lou Reed doing the speaking part?
Yeah.
that would probably make me enjoy it more, I guess. But like in that case, it's a music video, so it's supposed to be the accompaniment to the song, rather than, you know. I mean, I guess it depends how artistic it's supposed to be. And like, since this clearly is like what this entire, I don't know for sure, like maybe no other song has speaking in it, but I'm pretty sure the way everybody's reacting, the whole rest of the album is going to sound similar to this. So like knowing that that's the case, like I'm trying first of all to not hate this so much that every second is painful. Right. So I'm trying to like find the things in it that I can enjoy. And the other thing I keep trying to bring up is that on the first like 4 Gorillaz albums, one cool thing that Damon Albarn did was there was one song that was just spoken word. So like the entire song is a really cool song, but maybe there's a chorus that Damon sings, but the verses are all just spoken by a different person, like a guest person. And I looked it up on Plastic Beach, this song, Fire from the Monkey's Head, I think is what it's called. Or no, that's, it's some kind of nature is what it's called. Some kind of nature, some kind of gold. Yeah, that has Lou Reed on it. And he does this like speaking part. And that was how I knew the moment Lou Reed started in the first song, I was like, I've heard that guy's voice before.
Yeah, he's unique.
It was from that Gorillaz song. And the thing is, with the Gorillaz, because Damon did it on every one of their first albums for their first like 4 albums, those are like some of my least favorite songs on there. Yeah. But because he was doing it consistently, 1 track on each album, I was like, cool, this is like a Gorillaz thing. And Damon Albarn has always liked to use speaking parts in the Blur did it and stuff too. So because of that, I kind of got a little bit used to it in certain ways with the way that Damon does it. And so I'm trying to approach it like this. Like if Lou Reed talks and then James sings choruses, I'm fine with it. Or at least not necessarily, like I'll be much more okay with that than what that first track was.
Why does Lou Reed's voice sound so nice and crisp?
I was trying to listen to it. It does sound good.
And then James Hetfield is not as crisp and is in the background.
Because he's not even supposed to be singing. He just can't help himself.
It is kind of like that. Like he had a talkback mic on and like he could.
I wonder though if he wasn't recording his vocals while he was playing the guitar.
I wonder, like, I mean, I read that later that like Lars said he listened to the album like maybe when Lou Reed died or whatever, and was like, this was just so cool that we did that or whatever. But when they were doing it, were they just like, whatever, we're gonna do this to be weird? Because the last Metallica album that came out before this was Death Magnetic, right?
Right, which was supposed to be their.
If we're on the Metallica thing here, past 1992 or 3, they did one good thing, so they had to do a crappy thing before they did the next good thing. They had to lay a hot turd. It was time for a turd.
So since this is a pretty stinky one, it means Hardwired should be pretty good, right?
Yeah.
I love Hardwired.
I think that you might even know that. Hardwired.
All right, we've been talking a long time,
okay,
so let's get to the next
song.
one. Pumping Blood. This is a long one, dear God. 7.5 minutes.
Holy shit!
That last one didn't really seem like it was 5.5 minutes.
It didn't. That's true. I want more acoustic.
Because it had 3 minutes of good music in it.
I want more acoustic guitar, by the way. I want more acoustic guitar.
Strummed too? The thing you actively hate all the time?
No, I don't want it strummed. But any acoustic guitar would be a little bit interesting to throw into the mix. Okay. Ready? Ready, Chris?
Yep.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
Attitude and strings for you. You guys know that that's actually James Hetfield playing those strings?
I did see a video today how you can use a pen and put it in between your guitar strings and move it up and down.
Kick drum.
Move it up and down. It sounds like a violin.
Huh.
Listen to that kick.
Let's go.
So far, so good. Oh, yeah.
Did that turn into a guitar in the middle? Like, I thought it was a violin at first, but...
It might be electric violin. I'm reminded of how I feel about Radiohead suddenly.
Really? All I can think of is Willie Nelson trying to sing in the last 20 years.
That's
Pump out
yeah.
blood in the sunshine.
Good luck trying to get him to like do a duet with someone and sing any sort of rhythmically.
That is blasted and busted away.
Maybe we should just kill all old people at a certain age.
A little piece of glass. A little piece of glass, a little piece of glass. Swarming like bees over the air. Off the pump, off the thing. The blood that I'm pumping away. Like bees over the air. Off the pump.
The guitars seem like they're getting farther away, don't they?
Yeah.
Wait, maybe.
Chris agrees with me.
Or he's getting louder.
So far, I'm not as minding this one as much.
I like this one.
Off the pump, off the thing, the blood that I'm pumping away. If I pump blood in the sunshine and you wear a leather box
voice does
with
sound really
azaleas
good.
and I pump more blood and it seeps through my skin, will you adore the river, the stream, the trickle, the tributary?
It sounds
of
like he
my
took 25
heart?
years off of
The
himself.
tributary of his heart.
Blood, and it seeps through my skin. Will you adore the river? Will you adore the
bass.
river?
Yeah.
Trickle the tributary of my heart.
A cymbal swell. You don't get that very often from Lars. Maybe I
He's
guess.
standing up while he's doing it.
You better believe it.
If I'm pumping blood, like a
See, this is more avant-garde. This is cool to me.
If I waggle my ass like a dark prostitute, you think less of me?
Jeez. I don't think I can think less of you, Lou.
And my coagulating heart. Waggle my ass like a dog prostitute, coagulating heart, pumping blood. Come on, James.
He knows his name.
I'm gonna look up when Lou Reed's first album came out.
1951.
1951.
I made it up.
He would have been 11 at the time.
Gross. Come on, turn into something. You built to it.
Would you top me off? Would you top me off? as I
Wait, he was in the Velvet Underground?
While you yell,
Yeah, we talked about that
I
earlier.
don't know any of their music either, but I've heard that big name.
Would you rip and cut me? Use a knife on me. Be shocked at the boldness, the coldness of this little heart. Tied up in leather, would you take the measure of the blood that I pump and the manic confusion of love? Supreme violation. Supreme violation. Oh, Jack, I beseech you. Oh, Jack, I beseech you. Supreme violation. Blood in the foyer, the bathroom, the tea room, the kitchen, with her knives blade. I will swallow your sharpest cutter like a colored man's blood spurting from me. Oh, Jack, I beseech, Jack, I beseech you. I beseech. In the end, it was an ordinary heart. Oh, Jack, I beseech you, and as I scream out my pain, in the end, it was an ordinary heart. In the end, it was an ordinary heart. Jack, I beseech you. Supreme violation. Oh, Jack, I beseech you. I call out your name. Blood in the foyer of the bathroom. The tea room, the kitchen, and knives blade I swallowed. Your sharpest cutter like a colored man. Blood spurting from me.
That's the second time with that line.
I thought so
missed
too,
it
but
the
the first
first
time I was like, no, surely not.
Yeah, right?
Surely not, yeah.
Oh, Jack.
How am I going to edit all this?
In the end, it was an ordinary heart.
Nobody's paying attention. You should probably be all right.
In the end, it was an ordinary heart. Pumping blood.
Here's a question I've always had about Metallica. How is it that you can hear just the instrumentation and know that's Metallica immediately?
Well, I'll tell you how you know it's Metallica in this song, okay? Because they decided to write 2/3 of a song and then all of a sudden just add an extra third for no reason. Metallica did the Metallica thing, okay? The first time he started going, Jack, Jack, I beseech you, Jack, I beseech you, right? That should have been the last time we heard that, right? The first time. He could have done that, and then the song could have ended. Instead, Metallica was like, but wait, we've got 2 more minutes of music. So, Lou, just repeat that line the rest of the 2 minutes, and we'll do something a little different.
I don't think that's probably quite how it went, but
I think that was... Here, we've come across the first time that Metallica pokes its ugly heads through Lou Reed here. Metallica's
what?
Hey, Lou Reed, we do this thing where we make our songs too long, and we just decide to, add extra parts for no reason. So can we do that on this one? And he's like, sure. I'll just repeat. Jack.
He's like,
Jack,
where am I? Who are you?
I beseech you. I beseech you. And then probably some racially insensitive lyrics. Jack.
Probably. Oh, man.
But you know what?
that's my favorite one so
It
far.
wasn't that bad.
musically, it was there was so much Metallica in there that I was happy with what I heard that wasn't Lou Reed. I was going to say I did have an interesting thought during that song. Okay. If somebody could just pluck out Lou Reed and get him all by himself, and then just put him in front of Orion, just pick a song, pick one of these bullshit songs from this album, and just plop him down in front of Cyanide Happiness, Suicide, and whatever the hell,
Cult of Cthulhu.
Yeah, Cult of Cthulhu.
Dude,
To Live Is to Die.
You have stumbled onto something here.
It would be the same.
This is better than if it was just Metallica with no one all over it.
No, it is not.
No,
My
it is
point
not.
is
At least
that
there's
it
a
would sound the
focal point.
same because he is not part of the music they're making.
Oh, I see what you mean. It doesn't matter what he's doing it over.
Right.
I see what you mean. I thought you were going the other direction because now that you've said that, now I'm like, maybe wait a second. Maybe I'm approaching this from the wrong angle here. Maybe I should think of this as Metallica wrote an instrumental album and Lou Reed was like, I will not stand for this.
Lou Reed will not stand in general.
Sort of
He's
a
90.
through line here. So I'll just go in and talk.
That does not. There is nothing. No. Lou Reed does not make any song better.
Well, yeah. I think you're right, though. I don't know if I would say that's the best song on the album because I did like the second one, but I didn't mind that one. I didn't mind that one.
I think I like that one better, but whatever. It's kind of the same thing.
Well, and it was the first.
That one had the most Metallica in it. It started with Metallica and then it dissolved. That's what I was going to say. My consistent lifelong criticism of Radiohead is that Radiohead music starts and you're like, all right, this is cool. And then Tom York shows up and it ruins the song.
Wait, Tom York is the singer for Radiohead?
Radiohead.
Okay, because I've heard Tom York just by himself. I've heard his name being thrown around and stuff. I never knew those things were associated. Okay.
And every single Radiohead is the same way in that regard, where Tom York shows up and he makes a bunch of weird squeaky whiny sounds, and the song is unlistenable. And that's exactly what's happened here. That song was off to a bang and start. Then Lou Reed showed up, and everybody just got kind of like confused and dropped their instruments and stuff because they're like, how come this weird old man wandered in here with no clothes on and started shouting into the microphone about Jack? All right. And then he stopped and they picked their song back up and played out to the end.
That was the first moment we got of like a hint of like thrashiness, you know, the faster riff, at least more metal.
Yeah.
So far, I would say everything was very blues based, blues rocky kind of, right? Or was it jazzy?
I didn't do the test.
The 16 bars or the 8 bars.
Have I done that on the channel before?
Yeah, the dud. If you can go dun 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 or whatever.
And that's. Oh, I did that on the Olivia Rodrigo video. If you can go then it's blues, and if it doesn't fit when you do that,
then it's jazz.
And that's how you tell what kind of music you're listening to.
I love little rules like this.
Yeah. Honestly, he's not wrong though.
I made it up.
I love it. I'm thrilled about that.
But I the first two songs felt much bluesier to me, more load reload, in terms of what Metallica was doing, and then this song had moments of like, especially towards the end there, that last minute where I was making fun of him, like it got heavier. There was more of like a metal riff in there, I feel. So
I love little rules like that. Like one of my favorites is the composer for Mortal Kombat, Will Roger. He's such a super, super cool guy. But he told me, it's like, if you ever want to mimic like a Mortal Kombat character fighter stance, just grab any two places in 3D space and turn the cranks.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
And I've tried it 1,000 times and it's always true.
That's absolutely true. Absolutely true. All right, should we just move on?
Yeah.
Mistress Dread. Oh God, I already forgot that. I was going to say that pumping blood one. It's when it started out, I was like, is the music supposed to be like signifying pumping blood? But there was never any moment where it felt like a heart or anything like that. Like it never felt like artistically like the music was trying to be what he was saying.
Yes.
Which makes me wonder if the words came second.
That's what I'm saying. Like these songs seem like they would have to be written lyrics first, but they sound like they were written music first.
I think, yeah.
It's so strange. Like Lou, you go in that room and write. Metallica, you go in that room and write. You don't get to hear the music. You don't get to see the words. Now come back together and make an album.
Yep, that's kind of what it sounds like. Yeah, that's a good way to explain to describe it. All right, track 4, Mistress Dread. You ready, Chris?
Mm-hmm.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Organ. Distorted organ.
This is awfully upbeat.
I love this. This is cool. Atmospheric.
Ruined.
Are you listening to the right one?
Yeah.
Mistress
Ice
Dread?
Honey?
No, we're on Mistress Dread.
I fucked up.
Hold on. Let's restart.
I fucked up.
Now I'm excited for the next one because it sounds happy, and then Lou Reed comes in, based on Chris's description.
Yeah, okay, now your confusion makes more sense now.
Okay,
All right, let's start over.
Mistress Dread in 3, 2, 1. Organ. Distorted organ. And a heart is an organ.
There you go.
And it was the heart was real or whatever he was saying last time. The heart was genuine or whatever his word was.
Says the guy who never listens to lyrics. He's suddenly all over it.
Well, that's the only thing to listen to here. This is great.
All right, here we go.
Right when this happened before, you're like, well, it's ruined now. And I was like, what's he talking about? This is the best part. Kick sounds a little out of place, but not bad.
It's a little slappy.
There's kind of something Old West about this to me as well. Like the way he's performing his part, Lou Reed's performing his part.
It's Old Man that you're thinking of.
Yeah.
That echoes through my brain. You're perfect. me lift a glass high. Let me follow in your footsteps.
The screaming back there?
Let me follow.
Something.
I thought that was an instrument sound, but maybe.
And that organ thing is, there's a lot of like droning tones, which is kind of neat.
Let me follow.
That's very
Maybe Lou
modern
Reed's
metal
pretending
band.
to be the organ.
Sounds like a phone ringing.
Checks to see if the phone's
This is my grandma calling. She's like, she called earlier today and she asked if the Bad Men had made it to our country yet.
Oh boy.
And I said, you know what, Grandma? Let's ask Google how many babies are born every day. And I'm like, hey, Google. And she said 362,000 babies born every day. I was like, Grandma, all the people that are dying, we're replacing them in droves. Don't worry about it. And then she kind of got mad at me and didn't call back later.
I'm not going to tell you to shut up. The song is boring.
It's interesting to have speaking over this, you know?
This riff's gone on for a long time now, though.
Right, and it's almost more about those accents.
It's trying to turn into a song.
The thing that's kind of funny if you think about it is though, like this sounds bad, but why would we perceive it better if there was like over the top of it? Like, why is that better than this? You know what I mean?
It suddenly
Because
becomes
it is.
Dimmu Borgir.
Because
and
there's
that's
rhythm
great.
to it.
That's a lot of it. And the pitch isn't as important.
And I've said before, I think that the intensity of the vocals always has to match the intensity of the music or surpass it. And that's really hard sometimes with metal for bands to do. Because if you can't have intensity of performance, you have to have like intensity of emotion, if nothing else. And this is just kind of like him lazily.
He's giving it everything he's got.
It's just that he's hanging
Boy,
on
this
by
is
a
half
thread.
over.
I mean, you could drive around to this song, I guess. Just in circles.
Yeah. Sing. And just do the roundabout.
Look, kids, Big Ben. I don't even like the National Lampoon movies.
That's fine.
The thing is, like, why not? Why not just have a fast, noisy song? And just, like, why not?
They could have just recorded an engine at like 4,000 RPMs and then had him talk over
train?
that. I suddenly wish I had a whole bunch of Lou Reed vocal stems that I could just put on top of any mess I make.
I just wish there was, like, female backing vocals to accentuate what he's saying. And I am. You know, like...
Music?
Oh, he's Mrs. Dread.
I still like the drums. I get what you
sound
were
good.
saying. The kick seems out of place, but like I like it.
In that one moment it did. It stuck out
It
more
was a little
than it had.
bit. It was clickier than usual.
I like it.
I mean, we're kind of getting a little bit of an answer to our question of what would load and reload production sort of sound like if they did a fast riff, fast song, right? It probably would have sounded like, right? Like the guitars here are so low passed, right? There's no high frequencies in them at all. But you can hear the definition in the picking, but there's no, it's basically just mush. You know that the bass is basically the same thing as the guitars, except the guitars have like grain to them. I like all the like tone things that they did that whole time.
This thing?
Yeah, stuff like that.
The bagpipe organ thing?
Yeah. I wish Metallica would do stuff like that all the time on their albums. I like it when bands do stuff like that. Droney things, you know. So did they play that entire song doing the same notes the whole time? Like they never, like it's been this. It was that the whole time, right?
Overwhelmingly.
And they circle theoried it back so that it's ended the way it started.
Which is how it was in the middle as well.
Chris really did not like that song.
I have not, I won't say that I have actively hated them all equally, but I'm not having a good time.
I don't hate it.
I mean, I kind of am. I'm making a fun time out of it.
I'm not like disliking it as much as I think people thought that I was going to, but maybe that's kind of the part of it. Like the bar was set so low that I'm like, hey, this is at least listenable production. And I don't know, like it's almost like I don't like it when people speak in music, but you kind of got to just like give it to someone when they're like, all we're going to do is just speak over music. Like that's the
you
shtick.
don't think about it like a song, if you think about it as just like
right, a soundtrack,
slam poetry.
A soundtrack to like a performance. Right, 100%. And
Thing that we all said that we hate, slam poetry, and I'm the only one here who's actually hating this.
Well, and then the thing, like I was saying, kind of when that song started too, like there's kind of like an Old West feel that I get to this as well, and I've kind of thought it throughout, and I think it's partly because of his old man voice, but I think it's also partly his delivery as well, not just the tone of his voice, you know, the timbre of his timbre of his voice.
Timbers for trees,
but it's spelled timber, not
no.
One of them is spelled one way or not. I remember Dr. Newharth being
Timbre
like...
is T-A-M-B-R-E. Or no, it's T-I-M-B-R-E.
Yeah, it's timber.
It is, yeah, but it's
spelled the same
R-E,
as timbers.
it's R-E, not
No,
E-R.
Yeah, timber in
Timbre.
America is
Timbre.
T-I-M-B-R-E.
Timbre.
Anyway, I'm smart. I know what I said.
Timbre.
So anyway, there's like his delivery and the way he's doing it, I think is kind of making me think of like Old Westiness. And like a lot of Old West stuff is guy with acoustic guitar telling a story, right?
Yeah.
And so it's kind of cool to have that with metal over the top of it. But part of me is almost just like, if it should be one thing or the other, right? Mm-hmm. Either get rid of Lou Reed or get rid of Metallica. And maybe I should just listen to a Lou Reed album, and then I'd really hate that.
Boy,
right?
I would love it if you did that.
Right. But like, oh, and I did look during one of the songs, I forget. Lou Reed's first solo album was 1972. The first Velvet Underground album was 1966.
Okay.
And I don't know any Velvet Underground songs, though I probably would know one or two that...
I was going to say, you should listen to them and see if you like that, because everybody loves that so much, and I hate it.
I think they had a song in one of the Tony Hawk soundtracks.
I think you're just thinking of Tony Hawk Underground.
No. Hey, Google, what is the Velvet Underground's biggest song?
Sorry, I don't have any information about that.
Hey, Google, what is the Velvet Underground's most popular song?
Songs frequently mentioned on the web include Heroin, Sweet Jane, Rock and Roll, and others.
Heroin, Sweet Jane, Rock and Roll, and others.
Nah.
Whatever. Let's keep
I'd really
going.
love to... I'd love to know what people see in a lot of the classics that they consider to be the most legendary music in the world. I am not on board with most of them. Lou Reed, I hate. Velvet Underground's no good. I don't like David Bowie at all. I barely like Prince.
What?
I know.
Prince.
Even Queen, like Queen's hits, like everything that isn't "We Will Rock You." Like Queen was one of my favorite bands when I was a kid. I had a greatest hits VHS of theirs that I watched all the time. And
I mean, this is perfectly passable music.
I'm also pretty surprised you're saying that.
Me?
Yeah.
I grew up listening to old music. just before 1970s. So like 50s and 60s music I'm very familiar with, and I like a lot of that stuff.
Are you a Magic 590 guy? 590 AM?
No, 99.9 KGUR,
Oh,
the
okay.
oldies all day. Okay,
My
whatever.
dad would listen to Magic 590 when we were working together, and we would catch like super old stuff.
Watch
And Paul Harvey.
Watch the video get copyrighted because of that.
Because you played that song on the phone? Oh,
I'll
that'd
cut
be
that
incredible.
out. I'll cut that out. You're absolutely right. It 1000% would. I would spend 12 hours rendering this video, another 45 minutes uploading it, get all the timestamps ready, and then I'd have to change them because I would have to.
I want to know if it happens.
No, I'm just cutting that out. Right
Okay,
away.
let's do Iced Honey.
Iced honey. All right. So this sound starts like a happy one, according to Chris.
Yep,
Are you ready, Chris?
I am.
Iced honey in 3, 2, 1.
1, 2, 3, and
The guitars sound completely different than the last song.
This is the track that I actually remember from the last time I listened to this record. This one I think is more like a song than a lot of the other stuff.
you can't put a butterfly in
Ruined.
a jar. If the efforts to admire, no matter who you are, you can't catch the moon or the sun or the stars.
See, this kind of like,
Doesn't matter who you
kind of trying to sing a little. I'm way more. I'm okay with. Because that's kind of like, oh look, he's trying. You know,
Yeah.
it's like he's in his nursing home, and you're like, good for you.
I've tried a
You know?
million tricks.
Especially hearing just what you played on your phone there, like
Yeah, I mean, it sounds
He's
just like this, right?
really falling apart.
Yeah,
man
'cause
is
he was
too
singing
old for
singing
this.
back then.
But the proud piece of ice that always floats ice honey. Ice honey.
Hey, that's lyrics.
If I can't trap a butterfly or a bee, if I can't keep my
There is
heart
some
where
distortion.
want it
I
to
hear
be,
every now and then, like bad distortion.
no matter how much
On Lou
soul
Reed's
and
voice?
heart I put to the
Yeah, and
wood,
some on the just everything, the master.
is not that good. Ice honey.
But there's a lot of low frequencies in this.
You can't put a butterfly in a jar. If violence marks your final hour, if you make others feel like jam, hold on a piece of charbroiled lamb if it's all mixed up.
Corn on a pizza.
Cannot shout and your oxygen starts to run out if you're fine.
Oh, he rhymed some stuff within the structure of the song. He's getting better.
You say so long if your energy starts to leak out.
The production of the Metallica here sounds way better,
All about
minus the distortion, which I'm hearing quite a bit of.
an unattached heart.
On what?
The story
Maybe it's
of
just my
love
headphones. We got the headphone thing turned all the way up, but
and me. I've always been this way.
But I don't think so.
Not by choice.
Oh, I heard some right there.
This way I can't put my honey pot in a
it's mostly when the
jar.
kick
Or
hits.
a heart or a fist of some young boy. If you can't put a butterfly in a jar, no wonder, no need to wonder where you are. It might seem like hell, the river sticks. Your affection never sticks, no matter what you say, no matter what you do.
There, that was
A
bad.
butterfly heart flies right past you. There's nothing to say, nothing to do. See if the ice will melt for you. 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 See if the ice will melt for you.
It's like an old man is singing karaoke and he doesn't know how the lyrics fit into the song.
Ice honey.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
That's what this is. This is a karaoke album.
Dude, could you imagine doing karaoke for this? They take out the vocals and you're supposed to do Lou Reed's part.
That'd be pretty funny.
Pretty hilarious.
If you could nail it, you would be a genius. Maybe that's why people think this is good. They use the karaoke metric.
All just depends on how intentional you think any of it is.
Yeah.
It's this like repeating crap that I don't like.
I don't like it either. And actually, super hot take version, but at least for the first 2/3 of it, I think that James Hetfield's vocals are the worst part of that song.
Oh, I would say they're definitely...
They get better towards the end. Like, he actually starts like kind of singing in key. But at first, it's like, ew, really?
Well, it feels like they were all performing in the room together.
Reading key?
And he tried it.
No, but he doesn't have to be.
It feels like they were all in the room together performing the song, and James tried it just to see how Lou would feel. You know, he's playing, and he tried singing a little bit, and he looked over at Lou, and Lou was like, "Yeah," and so James was like, "Okay, all right." Well,
Lou didn't even notice. He was just, and James looked at him, and he was just,
I am the ice will
So he just
melt
kept
for
doing it.
you. The whole time I'm just like, just go, I am the ice that will melt for you. Something. Change a freaking note.
At the end, he does it.
But
You know,
There's some of that bad distortion on your mic right
I was
now.
thinking about what you said about it, whether or not it all depends on how intentional you think it is.
yeah.
And I was reminded of a time that someone said to me of the movie A Mighty Wind. That
I don't remember that one.
oh well, it's anyway. Actors pretending to be characters who are bad at acting is an incredible thing to do. And if that's what's happening, because I was thinking about like, would it be more impressive if it was something that wasn't intentional and sounded that way, or if it was intentional and sounded like it wasn't?
That's a great
And the
question.
second one is good actors playing characters who are bad at acting. And by virtue of that, doing good acting of that. That's intentionally making something feel unintentional. And the other way is what we always think is the best thing in the world, where you do something super cool by accident. And arguably the first one is significantly more impressive, but the second one's much more fun.
It is A Mighty Wind. Is that the Spinal Tap guys? Is that the folk Spinal Tap movie?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that one. I've of course seen Spinal Tap 50,000 times, and I've seen the dog one, but I haven't seen A Mighty Wind.
I didn't know the Spinal Tap guys did more movies.
Best in Show, that's right. It's Christopher Guest. He was one of the Spinal Tap guys. He directed those other two. He was in them. He was in Princess Bride. Like, it's just a Christopher Guest
He's
movies,
in
basically.
he's in Princess Bride.
He's
He's
Inigo
Count
Montoya.
Rugen, yeah.
Oh no, I thought he was
No.
Inigo Montoya.
No, Count Rugen, the guy with the 6 fingers.
Six-fingered man.
Spinal Tap is so good. If we were gonna watch a movie,
Princess Bride is so good.
Princess Bride is so good.
And Spinal Tap,
It is
the only
so
time
good.
I've seen it, Chris, is when we watched it at college. That's the last time I've seen it.
I love that movie.
I need to see that movie
I
again.
quote it endlessly.
I tried to watch it once a long time ago, and I fell asleep, and I was so uninterested that I
Yeah,
never finished
that's what my wife does. The 50 times I've tried to show her that movie is that she gets about 5 minutes into it
That's
and she
just
falls.
not for me.
Oh my god, it's so.
I remember really liking it when we watched it in I don't know if we did watch it for class, I think.
We did. I mean, it was
our-
like a. It was like a.
I mean, we watched it
after-school
on like a
thing.
small TV, but we had it hooked up to the good speakers in the
I think we had a projector and stuff hooked up. There's a projector screen in that room.
Yeah, I guess we did. But I do remember that, and I remember enjoying that movie a lot. Yeah.
The song, oh my god, the Big Bottom song. We could listen to a Spinal Tap album.
We could. Yeah, I don't know anything about that stuff really, so.
It's all fake.
It was all made by computers. It was AI before AI was cool.
No.
AI is still not cool.
Your enthusiasm there was just the best. That was just great performance. I hope that was you trying to act like that rather than you trying not to act and it ended up that way.
No, it was just me going, no. But what it was is me responding to you as I'm deciding that I have no energy to explain what I'm talking about.
Right. And also, it kind of also to me sounded like you're like, we're listening to this Lou Reed Metallica album. No. You know. So let's move on.
Onward, one more for disc 1.
Cheat on Me, Dear.
Hey, the last one was almost a song.
11 and a half minutes, Chris.
Oh boy. See,
awesome.
I'm opening these out of a folder that does not have the part
And you're
that tells
watching
me how
on
long
V.
they are.
Yes. So
I'm like,
Cheat
it's always a
on
surprise when I start it.
Me.
Oh,
Oh,
man.
boy. 11 and a half minutes. All right. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Great. Again, your performance nailed it. All right. 3, 2, 1. Hopefully this is a ballad with Lou Reed doing.
Could it even be considered in? What,
Could there
were
be a
any of the other ones not?
No, I don't think we've had a ballad yet.
It's impossible to know.
I don't know how I feel about this Monster Energy.
I think you should try the white one.
I will. I'll have to. Every time I take a drink, I'm like, this reminds me of something, but it's reminding me of something that I didn't like. However, I think I do like it. It does.
It is
have
right on the edge.
This is a little old westy.
Music, is that you, Pink Floyd?
Music is that. Chris, you can't make me laugh. I'll die over here.
I think
Coughing.
that's my new goal, is to just make you hack it
Music
up.
is that you. That is hilarious. You couldn't have a better moment to say that than listening to this album.
Good.
And it's true. It came right after just like one guitar note, one acoustic guitar note, like at the end of Call of Cthulhu, which Chris and I like. Right, it's the whole 10-minute song, and by the end you're just like, just please God, kill me now and end this. And then they're like, ding ding ding, on 3 acoustic guitar notes out of nowhere, and you're like, oh, well, that would have been nice, 5 minutes ago. But yeah, it's great. I like this though. This is folky. This is Americana-y, Chris. A little gothic
it is.
Americana-y.
Big.
It has not yet been ruined.
Yeah, if Lou Reed came in and had a low voice. Along the prairie.
He'll just come in and go, it's
As
all
I
over.
ride along the prairie on a trusty, rusty steed.
I hope he comes in like with full
But
energy.
instead he'll go, I don't know how to do it. Not that old yet. Still a young whippersnapper.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
for sure.
That's what you are. I have nothing to complain about with this. so far.
I love this. Are you over here going, God, this isn't boring?
No, I don't care. It's fine.
I love this. This is the soundtrack to like a modern set Western with probably Ben Foster in it, and some really good acting that'll be nominated for a Grammy but never win. Lots of transition shots.
Something changed.
I would give anything to have Metallica do stuff like this, and then have James sing over it, and then have slowly the band come in.
They did. It's called Bleeding Me.
Yeah, and Bleeding Me is maybe my favorite Metallica song.
It's such a great
Why
song. I
do
love
you
that song.
cheat
There we go.
on me?
Now it's ruined.
Why do I cheat
Goodbye, music.
on me? Why do I cheat on me? Why do I cheat on me?
Now that I said Willie Nelson, that's what I heard. That's
It's
what I hear.
hardcore Willie Nelson.
This is
It's
Willie
so
Nelson.
Which is just too bad.
It is, because Willie Nelson was badass. I have one of his albums from like the
I
50s.
have a passionate
It's
heart.
amazing.
I really like the bass tone on this. It just sounds like an amp in a
kinda
practice
Tool-y.
room.
I have the love
Oh,
for many
kinda.
men,
What did he say?
but I
It's
don't
kinda what?
Sounds like Tool.
Tool-y.
Oh,
Bass
Tool-y?
tone.
Why do
Patrick's
Just-
never heard Tool.
Does
so
Tool
he
do
would know.
sparse stuff like this?
on me?
Oh,
Oh,
half of every album is this.
Yeah, let's go. That makes me more excited. I thought that they just did bass solos for like 25 minutes.
No, that's Primus.
That's Primus?
Primus is so
Yeah.
much better than Tool.
I can't even. I will leave. I will leave this call.
Come on.
Hey, that's sort of clean electric, right?
Crunch, yeah.
A little bit of crunch, yeah.
Ooh!
James, that's
I
not
love
good.
James Hetfield, and I'm not happy with what just happened. He just.
He didn't
plan this.
I can't make any faces over here because the whole time I'm gonna have to be zoomed in on you.
He's trying to pretend to be like Lou.
Right? Was that what he's trying to do? And he just
He's
doesn't
going
know
for
how
vocal
to sound
consistency.
terrible and like kind of make it work.
Hey.
I do. I like all the room tone. That's sort of fun, right?
This is the best song of them that's so far, in my opinion. I don't know where it's gonna go in the next 9 minutes.
Nowhere. You know the answer to that.
Drums still sound great.
And
Yep.
it
The tom on the left is weirding me out. It weirded me out in like song 2. Like the tom fills were going to the center and then to the center. And then all of a sudden there was a tom over on the left. It's really weird.
Do you think Kirk was a part of any of this? Or is it all just James?
There's a guitar in the back going.
Yeah, but there's never a moment of soloing
Yeah,
so
there
far.
has been.
Really?
One of those songs had like a full-blown guitar solo.
Oh, I missed it. I was probably talking
They're
over.
talking over it. Welcome to
I
the
don't
channel,
recall that.
boys.
That tracks.
Hopefully nobody minds that we talked over this.
Yeah, I think we got free.
Lou's
reign
talking over it.
Is it really bad if you're talking over talking?
No.
Maybe it's the worst.
Maybe.
I mean, it could be worse.
it's almost like we're having a conversation with Lou Reed.
Yeah. Let's do that. Let's
Okay,
just
we'll-
answer his questions.
We'll respond to what he's saying.
No more Lou the rest of the song.
I like the subtlety of all this.
Yep.
Why do you cheat on me? Because you're
Because
terrible.
Lou, you're so toxic all the time.
Yeah.
See, you interrupted me in the middle of answering me.
Oh, we got a new synthesizer sound in there.
Why do I piss my dreams? What a beautiful line.
I got the scope. If I
He really channeled James there. I got the scopa. If James saying that, it'd be, I got the scopa. Scopa. See.
let's wave upon the sea. Why do you cheat on me? Why do I cheat on me? Why do I cheat on me?
Why do I cheat on me? That's interesting. Is he cheating on his diet?
Might be.
So who are you cheating with then?
Are you cheating on yourself? With yourself? Wow.
Quick, Lou, lift up both arms so they can go to the same height.
Why do you cheat on me?
They're just gonna do this for the rest of the song, aren't they?
You better believe
Why
it.
do you cheat on me? The whole time. Yes, cats. Cleavage. Oh, it's got nobody else to cheat on.
And he's gonna do it anyway. So he's gonna just cheat on himself with himself. Which I think is just masturbation with extra steps.
Should we check how long we have left?
3 minutes.
Ah, your love means zero to me.
2 minutes.
Why do I cheat
He had the note for a little while,
He did, and then he lost
and
it.
then he let it go.
cheater?
Cheater!
Cheater!
Cheat on her.
Cheater!
Got nobody else.
There probably was something really freeing about this, you know? Just like not having to worry. And just
About making good
just-
music?
Well, but just like do it, you know? Not really worry about it.
What's up with all those flam hits in this song? I don't like it.
There's never a good time to flam.
No. And that is what that is, right? I'm the guy that doesn't know how drums work.
Either that or he's hitting the snare and the kick. I think yeah, he was doing it on the snare.
I'm only young once. I want to taste it all and have fun. I have no real feelings in my soul. Where most have
It's too late, Lou.
James, quit ruining it.
James is not ruining this. He's just not making it better.
He's not. Did they ever perform this live?
There's no way. When did this come out?
To 2011.
Lou Reed died 2 years later, so I doubt it.
Wow. Okay. I just don't even know. The beginning of that was awesome. And it was really
Yeah.
cool for quite a while. And then it just kind of morphed into
The rest of this album.
the rest of the album. If they wouldn't keep doing the like repeating the same thing over and over,
That's literally what that one review said.
like if
Is
they,
that some of the like I'm paraphrasing, but like some of the ideas aren't bad, but then they just like beat them to death.
yeah, and that's what it sounds like they're doing. Like again, if it would be cut down so that there wasn't so much repetition. You know, like I don't even mind the musical repetition so much if they're doing stuff over the top. Like at the end there, Lou was going back to doing more of like his verse thing, I guess, where he was actually doing lines or something. And like that, I was like, oh, this is cool. And then James came in again with his background thing. And that's when I was like, oh, you're ruining it, James. So like, I don't know.
What caused this album to happen?
They met each other at a award show.
Gross. This seems like it should have. It's like, oh, Metallica with Lou Reed. There's got to be some sort of like reason. It's like, nope. Two people who couldn't possibly have more different music decided to play music together.
I mean, Lou Reed was probably like itching to do something, and Metallica had to lay a hot turd. And like, I know that there's so many people that want to say that this isn't a Metallica album, and I guess like in a sense you're right, but also
what
like
an
it is
interesting
Metallica
question.
that is credited on everything, right? It's like Metallica that gets the producer credit. It's Lou Reed and Metallica. It says Metallica. It doesn't say Lou Reed, James Hetfield, Lars Ulrich, Kirk Hammett, and Robert Trujillo. Like it's.
So, do people think this is a Lou Reed album?
I'm just checking right now on Discogs to see if this is included on his discography.
I bet it is. Good.
Yes, it is.
Huh.
But I bet if we look under
Go look at the
Metallica,
credit. Go look at the credits for it though, because I think it's all credited to Metallica.
Lou Reed and Metallica production. No, it doesn't say anything.
Yeah, it's
It was recorded in Pennsylvania, or it was pressed in Pennsylvania.
At least on Wiki, like all of this stuff is like the production credit is Lou Reed and Metallica and whoever else. Whatever. It is what it is. I don't know.
We've got 4 left.
And one of them is 20 minutes.
The second we've listened to
can't-
this short half of the record. Are we really going to do it?
I can't believe that what you just said is true.
It is. The first disc
20
is
minutes?
We've
39.
only been recording for an hour 46.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess we're doing it.
I meant to stop, but that is the second.
I'm.
Oh.
What, did you find something?
Well, this is interesting. This is just on Wiki, so who knows if it's So on the personnel thing, it says musicians. Lou Reed, lead vocals, Continuum, whatever that is. There's a link. Acoustic guitar. James Hetfield, guitars, vocals. And then Kirk Hammett, lead guitar, rhythm guitar on Junior Dad. So maybe Kirk didn't really. Then why were those tracks, like, why were the tracks on the first or second song, like, why were they so out of time? Because, like, James Hetfield wouldn't do that. Unless he was doing it.
Maybe it was intentional.
Yeah, unless he was, I don't know, trying different parts.
Also, this was a huge missed opportunity to have Lars on vocals.
That's true. You know, we found out that Lars, he did vocals on Ride the Lightning twice. In Trapped on Under Ice, I think, he's the one that does the screams in the background.
Oh, he does some screams on
I think
Saint Anger too, I think.
Yeah, Trapped Under Ice, I think, is the song in the background.
Yeah, in the chat.
Ice rips so hard. God, that song
It was pretty good. Do you want to guess what my favorite song is off of Ride the Lightning?
You already know.
It wasn't Ride the Lightning.
That's a close second, though.
No, it was Ride the Lightning.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad that you said that.
Because it has a great solo. It has a catchy chorus that's an obvious chorus. After the solo, they go back to the verse and do the chorus again, and then the song ends. Right? Fade to black and For Whom the Bell Tolls both fade out egregiously and terribly.
No, the fade out on Whom the Bell Tolls gets a pass. That one's cool.
No. I agree it's less egregious than the amazing solo that's happening in Fade to Black, which is great. But again, the song's called Fade to Black, so like kind of like telling you what it is. And like Chris was saying when we were listening to it, that song represents someone being committing suicide. So it's about them like, you know, whatever, fading and stuff. So like right. But Fight Fire with Fire, great song, but I don't care for the chorus in that one as much. And so yeah, it's a little off-putting to me. It's a very punky chorus. Fight fire with fire. You know, it's not like a... But whereas... Right? That's Ride the Lightning.
The theater production of Ride the Lightning.
The theater production. Right, I don't know how to... Well, that's how you have to do that part.
Okay.
But
now I've got it. Now I can hear it in my head, not just
right.
your rendition.
Whatever, but...
Every time that you list a song that isn't Escape, I'm blown away.
Yeah, well, Escape fades out egregiously, and they only do the chorus twice, so...
Well, that song's a turd, so at least we're in agreement.
Yeah. And Call of Cthulhu is a waste of time, and they should have deleted that song from it and wrote 2 additional songs and had 9 full-length songs rather than one boring, very
Do you
boring.
hate it any more or less than any of the other instrumentals?
I need to re-listen to the other instrumentals. I definitely want to listen to Orion again. I've been saying that forever because I think when I was editing our Master of Puppets, I heard a lot of really interesting, like bluesy licks and things in Orion that were really cool. Mm-hmm. And I wish that I would have paid more attention. So I think I will like Orion more, but that's just basing it off of having heard it the one time when we reacted to it. And I don't know what the song is on Justice, the instrumental
To Live
song.
Is to Die.
So I have a sidebar. I'm going to try not to take forever.
That's all right. We just sidebarred anyway.
So I was thinking about One.
Good.
And this channel is now famous for Patrick not liking One.
Just him.
I mean, I've never been that big of a fan. When I think about One, I think about one very specific time. Back when I was in audio school, I was at a bar with some people. We were at the metal bar in town when there was one. And I remember a guy 10 years older than me, we were talking about Metallica, and he's like, man, One is like the best song to play on the jukebox because you like really get your money's worth because it's so loud. And I just kind of remember like, yeah, but that's not even like the coolest Metallica song. Like I'd rather just listen to Battery, which is probably the best Metallica song. Do I really think that? Maybe I do. Anyway, But
Learn more about that when we discuss.
so I had to do a really deep dive into one for something that you'll probably hear later. And I never had any problem with one, but when I really dug into it and I went and I learned a bunch of it for a thing that I did, and when I realized that what one is an instrumental track with some words on it, I liked it way more. Because I think that before my brain was just saying like, oh, like you have to listen to the acoustic part before the metal part starts. But then when you just think about like the intro solo is high schoolish, it's not, but I like it.
It's so good.
It is so good. It's like, it's relatable to me, like as a guitar player, and like it's well done. And that's like sort of the interesting thing. Like as I was learning it, I'm like, this is all the same crap that I tried to play when I was 17, but I could never put it together to make it sound like that. But when you listen to it like as an instrumental track, I'm like, oh, I get this better. So I would say that maybe one is one of my favorite Metallica instrumentals. And I didn't know the thing about that it's like after some book. I mean, you can kind of,
Which apparently is also true for Whom the Bell Tolls. Learned about that yesterday.
Oh,
or
I
whatever the
don't
hell it
get
was.
Ernest Hemingway.
that
A
from
book
Who the
called-
Bell Tolls. That song is so good, and
It is so
I
good.
think the fade out gets a pass because it's cool.
But the vocals are like 4 dB lower than any other song on that album.
Here's something about one though: the machine gun and helicopter sounds are way too quiet at the beginning. You get them on headphones, you don't get them in the car.
Oh, for sure.
I remember listening to because I listened to it in the car some too, to like whatever, because I was learning the song, and like I'm like, why is there no sound at the beginning of this? And then all of a sudden, then the guitar starts.
When it
Because
fades
it's-
in too. You should,
you
should never
weird
fade
too.
fade something in
I've
like
always
that.
thought that was weird.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that one is their best effort at having music represent the emotional flow of the lyrics.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
Except maybe Fade to Black, but I think one, and the way one is it's such a payoff too, because it's just building up and doing its thing, and then it hits, and then it's just like, oh shit, and then you're dead. And it's so good.
It is funny too because like Chris Parker and I actually recorded a whole video that hasn't seen the light of day yet, and will hopefully someday will. We re-listened to one and recorded a whole video just about one that was like 40 minutes long, where we broke down the lyrics, we re-listened to the whole thing and all this. And that was for a series I was going to do on, if we ever start a Patreon, I was going to have this be something that was on Patreon, where it's a whole series called Songs That Are Better Than Metallica's One. And I was going to do every...
People don't want to pay for that.
And so, well, so the problem is, the reason I haven't gone forward with that anymore is it is really hard to find songs that completely change like a third of the way through them and become intense, or do it the other way and become something completely different. Like, not very many songs that I can find, and I have looked through, at this point, hundreds probably of albums. Very few songs start and then 3/4 of the way, or 2/3 of the way
In that specific thing,
completely
but like
change.
Cemetery Gates just like screams to me, because Cemetery Gates, I'm sure, was a reaction to that.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, no, you don't.
I think that the closest analog to one is Knights of Sidonia.
Wait, who
Right,
is
and
that?
that's the Muse song.
Oh.
Does it do that?
Yeah. They do that. They have their gallopy westerny bit in the front half, and then they do their big "No One's Gonna Take Me Alive" a cappella section, effectively, and then it. Bam,
You're
bam,
right,
and then it
right.
turns into like the greatest rock song of all time.
That's off of Black Holes and Revelations.
Yeah.
That's why, son of a. Because what I've been doing is I've been trying. Well, whatever, it doesn't matter. We're going way too long into this. That's something that might happen someday on the channel. But just know, Chris and I did record a whole video about one where we really talked about it and discussed it quite in depth, and it was.
I'm
Very
really
fun.
looking forward to your experience with one from the S&M.
I'm so excited for S&M anything. Even the fact that it
love-
starts with Call of Cthulhu, even though that's kind of a song, give it
Yeah.
orchestra. And
I
it
love
builds
one
up-
and S&M. I think if I had to hold them next to each other, S&M wins every time.
I'm so excited for S&M. I'm just hoping that the sonic quality of it lives up to
It's good.
what I want it to be because it's a
really
live
good.
recording, you know?
Yep.
So I have to temper my expectations, but I'm... Do they have a choir with it too or just orchestra?
Just orchestra.
Because, man, that would have been cool to have some background
It would
vocals.
have been cool.
All right. Disc 2.
All right. So what do we got left? We got another hour left of this.
Frustration.
Yep.
Another
You got me, Lou.
hour?
That's the name of the song.
Okay.
I'm guessing. I'm just guessing on that.
No, it's 47 minutes total of music we have left. All right, Frustration. You ready, Chris?
but- Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Can we do it at 1.5 times speed?
I can't change the speed on this.
8.5 minutes. All right, Lou.
Hilarious thought, though. That's how I edit. Hit the good old L. And it goes,
Do you really?
yeah. I didn't know I could do that till just like a few months ago. I've been editing stuff in Sony Vegas since 2005. And I went over and sat down over there editing I've been editing podcasts for that long. And I just found out that if you hit play and the cursor starts moving and you hit L, it goes at like 1.5 speed. Hit L again, it goes at like 2 speed. Again, 2.5
Nice.
speed. I'm like, I could have spent half the time of my life editing that I spent, which is a lot of time I spent editing. All editing Harry Potter podcasts, by the way, so I want to point... We'll get back to Harry Potter.
I like this tone a lot. This is good. A lot of bass.
You're right, the bass has more definition to it.
This whole sound would be nothing without the bass.
Frustration. In my life's the kind of hate I see.
I want to see Chris's face.
I am really growing tired of this held out chord thing. It's like the same chord that James has been doing like the whole album, and I'm kind of over it by now.
You
And the
can't
funny
put
thing
real
is, like-
music behind it because he's not singing.
The funny thing is, I've been wanting Metallica to do stuff like that throughout their career. They never do moments where they just like hold notes out and let the song kind of continue without the guitars. And I want them to incorporate that just a little bit, and they did in Load and Reload a little bit more. But like, I want them to just do that a little bit. And then the bad thing is, they did it so much here that there's no way they'll do it again. You know, they got their fill of it here.
I drop to my knees in a second to salivate in your thighs. But all I do is fall over. I don't have the strength I once had in you, and your prickless lover and his easel in his eyes. I feel the pain creep up my leg, blood runs from my nose. I pew my guts out at your feet. You're more man than I.
That sounded like a thing. What did that sound like?
To be dry and spermless, like a girl,
God!
like a girl.
The ultimate punchline to that lyric.
I want so much
I'm gonna
to
pass out.
hurt so much to hurt you.
Oh man,
To
that's
hurt
glorious.
You, marry me, I want you as my wife. Spermless like a girl, more man than I. More man than I.
Some more of them flams there.
Never mind. This album is greatest of all time.
It might be. I don't know. I kind of don't hate it.
Unreal.
Frustration. Kind of hate. You're feeling
I can't laugh like that. It will literally kill me.
like a whore, but you stimulate. All I do is fall over.
I love that line. All I do is fall over. I bet you do, Lou.
Do I need to edit out?
No,
I guess not.
don't, because it's
just
so
science,
it's too
just
funny to
science
leave in.
terminology,
To not leave in.
right?
Yep.
Kind of topical too. If you think about like this riff.
Pain creeps up my leg, blood running from my nose. I shoot my guts out at your feature. More man than I.
Oh God, here it comes again.
Kill everything so he can say it.
To be dead, to have no feeling, to be dry and spermless like a girl. I want you so
Like
much.
a girl.
He really
to hurt
emphasized the
you.
girl there.
I want so much to hurt you. I want so much to hurt you. I want you as a wife. Frustration is my lexicon of hate.
That sounds like a James thing. The lexicon of hate.
Frustration
It does.
is my lexicon of hate.
Say it again so we get it.
Frustration,
Acoustic guitar.
my lexicon
in there somewhere.
of hate. Lexicon of hate.
You should have called this song "Lexicon of Hate." That would have been a cooler song title.
Frustration.
It would have made sense to do that, though.
I cry in icicles.
I cry at icicles.
Beats flutter and I wish that I could kill you. But I too love your eyes. I want you as my wife. I want you as my wife.
This is a drunk,
Spermless like a girl.
homeless man yelling on the sidewalk at 2 a.m.
Frustration.
I think that's him hitting the kick and the snare at different times. That flammy thing.
Yeah.
Frustration. Frantic, tick, 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 tock. Frantic,
Yep.
tick, 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 tick.
Which really just goes to show that Saint Anger is not as far of a departure from Metallica as people think. You can still hear so much of what they do.
Speaking of Saint Anger, we've had a lot of people try to excuse it by saying that their lives were so chaotic at the time, it's supposed to represent the chaos that was in their lives. And every
No.
time I respond going, that is a ridiculous excuse. The album should not sound like that. If that's what they were trying to do, then that is not how you should produce an album. It should sound consistent. If you want it to
Yeah,
sound...
let the lyrics do the chaos.
Yeah, if you want it to sound chaotic, find other ways. Write the music chaotically. Don't do what they did for that.
I like Saint Anger.
Same.
I would like it if it was consistent in any way.
I think the inconsistency is sort of what makes it fun. I like the riff on that song. That's maybe my favorite riff so
That
far.
honestly might be I agree, and it sounded really.
Oh, and then it gets slower.
I like that song too, minus this just dumb lyrics, but I guess no stupider than anything else we've heard.
Right.
So
Yep.
do we
Onward.
even need to talk about it? Let's just keep going.
What's to say? We'll immediately tangent into something that isn't this because there's nothing to say about it.
Right. So let's just go right into Little Dog. Ready?
Done. Yep.
3, 2, 1. I liked the more sparse moments there too.
I liked how it went down to nothing and then the riff came back in big. Like, I think all of us raised our eyebrows at that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, and it was good. Yes, I like this.
Can't wait for them to ruin it for you.
I like the guitar. I like the way it sounds. It's like far
Hard
pan,
left.
far left. Yeah.
Yeah. I wish it wasn't, but
Well, we'll see what they balance it with.
Maybe nothing.
Probably nothing. Would be my guess. Probably nothing. Just good old Lou in the middle.
Little dog, I can't get in.
there he is.
I still like the
Only
what's
at
being
the
played though
bedside,
a lot.
lonely
Yeah.
From each
Again, this is Gothic Americana, Chris.
Sort of.
16 horsepower.
little dog who can't get in.
Great. I love songs about pets and animals so much.
Only cry, but cannot swim.
It's weird how much Tool there is in this.
Yeah.
Does Tool ever use acoustic guitars? No.
Yeah?
No.
Maybe?
That would get me
think
more
so.
excited.
Wait a lot.
I think so.
I know a Perfect Circle does a lot. So that might be where Maynard gets that out of his system.
Yeah.
And Pussifer
The
as well.
dissonant buzzing, the guitar buzz in the back with like those notes, like that's very Tool.
That's so 16 horsepower. Or any of those Gothic Americana bands.
I can't wait till we do Tool.
Lulu,
I think you like it more than I thought you would.
Tool's the next band we're going to do after Metallica. As long as they allow us to use their music to make them money.
Fair.
Like Metallica. Metallica!
And elbowed him away.
Oh, there's two feedbacky guitars now. There's one in the center
Listen
too.
to him barking. Listen to him call. Little dog don't have much at all.
I've always wanted to. For me, one of the biggest hurdles in making the music I've kind of always wanted to is atmospheric stuff. I just cannot do it because it requires like a humanness
Anybody
that I just can't program with a mouse. You know what I mean? I mean, you can use synth pads and things that have slow oscillators and things. But like, I just love stuff like this.
Money, you can go to the
And there's definitely a performance aspect to this, you know?
The female dog don't care what you got.
You know what I call a female dog.
As long as
Lassie.
you can raise that
Yeah?
little doggy face to a cold-hearted, you could have a taste. A taste of what the big dog got. Taste of what the big dog got. The little dog with a $100 spot can run his tongue over the hot and trot.
You ever seen that video
Tongue
of
hot and trot. Money can do anything.
can't remember his name.
All money can do anything. Money can
For some
do
reason,
anything.
while this is all happening, I'm picturing like Tom and
Tell me
Jerry
what you want.
and the dog, like, you know, in the backyard.
Oh, sure.
I'm just picturing all of them and their fights, and
My
then
small dog.
when the like mean cats come in and beat up Tom as well.
You want what I got.
That's what all this reminds me of.
What you got. Wants to run his tongue over mine.
This is a ballad so far.
Yeah.
Just as we're getting a ballad here.
Have you ever seen the video of Jonathan Frakes asking a bunch of questions?
Who should I? I don't know that guy. Should I?
Okay. He was in Star Trek and some other stuff, but mostly no if you don't know him.
Yeah,
But
that
it's very
doesn't
funny. I'll
sound,
send it to you.
doesn't sound familiar.
This reminded me of it.
I like that sort of buzzy sounding guitar. There have been moments of this that reminded me of Modest Mouse.
Sure.
Yuck.
Lots of different kind of moments.
Thank you.
Early Modest Mouse for sure. Definitely Yuck. And they really only have 2 good albums. Well, one masterpiece, and then 2 pretty good albums.
You know, speaking of Modest Mouse, I could say that there's a lot of this song specifically without Lou that reminds me of Brand New.
Oh, there is a band I've always wanted to get into.
Love Brand New. God.
Deja Vu, right? Deja Intuendo?
Deja Entendu.
Entendu.
Deja Entendu.
Entendu.
Yeah.
Dude,
That's not even their best album. Their second, The Devil and God Are Raging Inside Me.
What was
Science
that
Fiction.
their famous song? From Deja Entendu or whatever however you pronounce it.
I'm not sure.
It had a really ridiculously long title, but yes, that song rocked.
I think you'd like them a lot.
Yeah, we could definitely listen to that. If anybody watching this is a big Brand New fan,
We should react to that.
yeah, we should.
Counts his fingers and his toes. He's still got those.
Can you tell we don't care about this at all?
Yeah.
There's almost nothing to care about.
I mean, I like what it's doing, but it's been doing it for like 5 minutes too long.
It does not require most of my attention.
Unless we were supposed to be listening to the lyrics and him telling this amazing story.
My money.
I won't do it.
Bye.
If you came here for that, you're gonna have to not.
Oh, there's
you're gonna
drums
find somewhere
now.
else.
Oh. And they're kind of played soft, which is something I didn't know Lars could do.
I'm in up while you're
Although that is a pretty
down.
hard tom hit. They're just turning it down and adding some room tone or whatever.
I am an up while you're a down.
Do you think Lou Reed played the acoustic guitar on this, or James?
The spring and the will follow me
I think it took
around
everything Lou had to just say the words.
while you sniff your shit in the wind. Sniff your shit in the wind. All money can do anything. All money can do anything. Tell me what it is you want. Just tell me what it is you want.
Can't wait for the 20-minute song.
Cymbal
I'm an up
swell.
while you're a down. The spring and the will follow me around. Tell me what it is you want. Tell me what it is you want. Slip your
Lou, I want you to stop.
follow me around.
Got another half an hour.
Pathetic
Yeah.
little dog.
In 2 songs.
Yeah, the next one's 11 minutes and 10 seconds, Chris.
What's the last one? Was the last one 20 minutes?
19 minutes and 28 seconds. And that's Junior Dad, so there we get our Kirk for the day.
And a whole bunch of other stuff. According to the credits, there's a bunch of stuff on Junior.
So,
Dad.
so that'll be the big song.
There's time for there to be, that's for sure.
They could have started recording, had a bunch of people come into the studio, record their part, and leave, and just let it run the whole time.
That was my exact thought. Word for word.
All right, so we're just going to let it run, Chris. So now we're on Dragon, or do you want me to restart it?
Nope, we're good.
Okay, I'm just letting it run right into Dragon.
Oh no, we're on the other side of the spectrum. Stereo field, kind of.
Notice how the genre here, it said thrash metal.
I know, it's been making me laugh.
This is thrash metal? This song or this album?
The whole album.
Hysterical.
That's what my Winamp is telling me.
You don't actually care.
You're right.
You don't actually care. You don't actually care. Love for you is no beginning.
Now it's just this for 11 minutes.
Hey,
The last song at least had acoustic guitar.
Hallucination.
Hallucination.
Nah, there'll be a riff.
Someone,
I thought you
I'll
were
bet someone has cut all of Lou Reed's vocals out, pitch shifted the snot out of them with like Melodyne and stuff, and made really cool dance songs to all of this. I'll bet
I
that'd
hope
be
so.
so funny.
I want to get my hand on those stems. I could put him talking over like the sound of garbage trucks and
Yep.
I understand.
Wouldn't
you
sound
think
much
you're
different.
above it.
Nope, same song, same effect.
The adolescent
Well, see, here's the
sense of
thing about that,
sky, the feeling of billowing heartbeats, the fingertips run through your hair.
You know what it is?
Here's your acoustic guitar. No, it's not. It's
They
electric.
run
It's
through your hair, hallucination.
People who like poetry.
Which we've established is not us, except for Chris. Right, you were the one. That
I
liked
appreciate
it.
poetry, but I almost never can read a poem and feel anything about it.
If this
I'm
is
usually
if
lost.
this is as poetry, this is acceptable to me because at least there's some
Oh,
accompaniment.
you think
Right,
it's
they
so
did that
special?
extra step.
They took.
This is the thing that you were complaining about. This is what poetry was when music didn't exist yet.
How
this is like
bad would
right
it-
between.
How bad would this be if there was no music? If it was
Oh.
just Lou Reed, it'd be
Oh.
unbearable.
Oh man, the most miserable thing in the
Terrible.
world.
Fingertips
That's
run
what
through
poetry
your
is.
hair.
I mean, are his albums like just his like later albums or whatever? Are they just like this with him playing the acoustic guitar?
Probably, I don't know.
Unknowable.
Somebody will tell us. There's Lou Reed
I don't know
fans
if
watching this.
Would it be worse if it was or if it wasn't? Like if it was regular music, which would annoy you more?
Probably if it was regular music.
Are meant to be
I think so, too.
dismissible objects. One with. One with.
Told you there was going to be a riff.
Pitiful creature.
God, it sounds so good.
It does. Get out of here, Lou. Go home.
The winner in heartbreak. The winner in caring. The winner in every minuscule method of wearing your heart on your sleeve. A red star of idiocy. An idiot's idiocy. Ah, my caring.
An idiot's idiocy.
You think we're a book, some kind of a table you can rest your feet on when you're able. Red star of
Says
idiocy,
table.
an idiot's idiocy. My caring for you, poor beautiful creature. To notice the pining, the self-deprivation, the self-flagellation of you, dear worshippers. We do like you regal, we do like you haughty, we do love to look upon your perfect body. The hair on your shoulders, the smell of your armpit, the taste of your armpit, and everything on it, we all really love you. And
Do you see the
have
smell
no
of your
meaning.
armpit?
He did.
You don't even see us. You were never caring. You go do what you do. You do
He's
it for
he's
you,
singing about the
no one
woman on the
exists
cover.
with you.
No arms.
Way above caring. Leave a trail upon the wake that no one ever tries to take because waiting for you, thinking of you, is another way of dying. Is another way of dying.
I like that. I think it's cool.
It's interesting.
It won't be cool if they do it for the next 2 minutes.
I don't think they will.
Or 6. Or 6.
I'm clawing your chest till your collarbone bleeds, piercing collarbones, bite them off. I scratch your face and bite your shoulders, way above caring in your Kotex jukebox. The Kotex jukebox.
Do you want to just skip to the last song?
I'm swearing, waiting for you in your high heels and nighty. Your
No, let's just do it. We're already this far in.
We're here.
I
can't believe this is only half over.
Your white tiles run red now. Are we both dead now? The liquid exchange of our heart.
You said this is based on a play?
Are we both dead now?
What?
So says the wiki.
There are more lyrics in this album than there are words in the play.
Probably. Is it just like a one-man performance?
I don't know.
That talk about the worst of both worlds. A one-man theatrical performance.
Well,
Oh, yeah, monologue.
I give you that.
You're way beyond caring. Your heart on your sleeve, a red star of idiocy. An idiot's idiocy. My caring for you, oblivious to caring, oblivious to caring, oblivious to caring.
That sounds so much like Metallica.
Whatever tries to take, because waiting for you.
Do you think so, really, though, that it sounds like Metallica?
All the music.
Yeah.
You hear that? If you hear this in a vacuum, you go, Metallica played that.
There is like a
Guaranteed.
reason for it, and I think it's the drums. I don't know.
It's the tone of the guitars too.
I don't know.
I've always wondered why.
Right, we've talked about that before. How come you can just show someone 5 seconds of a Metallica song without James singing, and you just know automatically that it's Metallica?
Yeah.
A red star of idiocy and idiocy.
Well, I mean, you can say that and be safe on the internet, but as soon as you say that something doesn't sound like Metallica, which we said a lot, listening to their records, then you get crucified, and it's like, well, it's because they have a thing that they do, and they use different scale degrees in their chords, and it doesn't sound like Metallica anymore, then why does everybody say that literally no other band is like that? It's not true. There's lots of bands that are like that.
Yeah. That's why I'm curious to listen to a little bit of, like, what's the band that's closest to Metallica, would you say? Would it be Megadeth? Because Mustaine used to be right the...
I mean, it depends on what era you're talking about.
Right.
It's...
So rejected.
I listened to a whole Megadeth song the other day.
Good.
For a table you can rest your table feet on when you're able. The taste of your table you can everything
Pretty big
on
deal for me.
the hair on your shoulders. The smell of your armpit. We do love you. To look upon your perfect body. We love you regal. We love you haughty. Oblivious to caring. Oblivious to caring. Caring. Oh my dear. Oh my dear.
The catch on this song is he's actually talking about a deer this whole time. A deer. He's
The smell of the
my
deer's
deer,
armpits.
D-E-E-R.
Are we both dead now?
What are people going to be saying in the premiere this whole time?
No one will watch this.
I have no idea.
Yeah, is everyone just going to start arguing about different stuff at a certain point?
They're not allowed to tell us that we have to stop talking.
Well, that's
Not
true.
in
Not for this.
Not in this. You don't get that privilege. I mean, we're not even saying that much. My brain is thinking lots of other things. About other things I got to do, what I got to do tomorrow. What good music am I going to listen to as I'm trying to fall asleep tonight? Because, hey, along with getting new headphones... Hold on, how much time we got left here? Mercifully. Okay, we're going to be moving into Junior Dad.
I don't know. Like, I don't
Yes, you do.
I don't hate it that much.
It's Stockholm Syndrome.
I just, like, I don't love it, but in some ways, I think it's kind of interesting. I mean, I don't, like, listen to it all the time, but I have listened to it multiple times all the way through.
I was going to say... Go ahead, Chris.
It is often said that the opposite of love is not hate, but indifference. And I apply that to things like this.
Okay,
where
we
it's
just
like,
switched over to Junior Dad.
Right, I'm good. I'm here.
No, that's fine. I just want to let everybody know.
And I think apply that to stuff like this where it's like, this is not necessarily the absolute worst thing it could be, because by being so viciously awful and uniquely bad, it is still interesting in the way that something that is hatefully mediocre will never be.
You got it, 100%. Because I was just thinking about, like, earlier in this year, I bought 3 boxes of metal CDs from some guy on eBay. And you can watch videos of me unboxing. You can watch the unboxing. I'm pretty sure I uploaded that. You can watch me unboxing all of them to see what they all are. But I went through after I got a lot of those and I listened to some of the albums. And
This is a Metallica guitar tone, 100%.
oh, we just got to that part. I love this.
Oh, okay.
This is cool.
Yep. This is all right.
It's almost it's a Metallica ballad. It's like really close to the riff of
Nothing Else Matters.
Maybe.
Or The Unforgiven, maybe.
Bum, bum. It's Hero of the Day. Bum, bum, bum,
Oh.
bum, 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 bum.
Okay. I believe you.
When we get bored later, I'll finish my story.
Okay. So is that now then, or?
No, this is interesting for now.
Yeah, true.
If they do this for 15 minutes and then decide to do something different the last 5 minutes.
But in a way, it's like kind of fun to see if you can just like make it through it.
Yeah.
I kind of.
Well, that's the thing.
Is it so, like
That's one of the
spicy
things.
wing challenge?
Right, that's what I was going to get into. Is like it's like an endurance thing almost. Because like if the songs weren't so long, I agree with what Chris was saying that it's so odd that it becomes interesting. It's just that it's so tiresome.
Yeah, but only in a way, because like also like because some parts are so repetitive, like then it becomes like so interesting where he goes to another not note the 50th time that he's said in the line instead of the same thing he's done the last 49 times. And like there's something about that that's
Dude, these drums,
at least interesting. The drums really do sound really great.
they're very dynamic. Like you can hear when he hits the snare drum softer, it's quieter. I like that guitar part right now.
And I've said that like throughout, the music is not a problem in this. It's a little dull sometimes
And
but
repetitive in certain
when
cases.
he's not doing Lou Reed,
There's that stupid
It's still
chord
Metallica.
again. Oh,
which one?
Just the holding it out part.
yeah, but there's scale
Oh.
degrees and I don't know what they are. Is it a Dorian thing? Or those major six that they're leaning on that I don't like? Tell me that I'm wrong in the comments.
Somebody showed up during the premiere who clearly has never been here before. He was like, "What? No music theory? This is a bunch of garbage." Got all bent out of shape and left.
I think that what he was talking about though was we mentioned in the video that the song Escape had less music theory to it than some of their other songs because it had less complexity to it, which is kind of a stupid thing to say.
That is sort of a stupid thing to
Very
say.
stupid thing to say.
I missed that part.
Yeah, and so that's I think what the guy was referring to.
Okay.
So because I replied to it eventually and I was like, well, just don't listen to us. We're idiots.
You're
or
welcome to
something.
make your own video.
No, I would never say that because people do that to us all the time. How can you
What?
criticize music when you haven't made any? It's like, well, I have made a lot of it. I've never said that I'm like amazing or anything like that.
That's a really stupid thing to say to somebody.
That's what
Everybody who's ever reviewed a movie is not allowed to because they didn't make their own.
Exactly.
first.
That's what Cody was saying. Siskel and Ebert never made a movie.
Nobody's ever been allowed to enjoy a book because they've never written a book.
Yeah,
Like for fuck's sake.
silly.
One time I was playing acoustic guitar on the street, and it went about as well as Patrick knows that it did. And somebody told me that I wasn't very good at it. And I said, like a smart ass, okay, well then you do it. And they did.
sit down and wreck
they were
you.
way better than I was.
Oh no!
That sucks. The one time.
Why were you playing on the street?
Homeless.
I've lived a long and storied life.
Just trying to do it.
I mean,
Was it when we were in college?
it was around that time. It wasn't in Nebraska.
Oh,
I've done that several times. Whatever. If you need to make $5 to go buy a pack of cigarettes, you can do it.
sure. Back when cigarettes were $5, huh?
Yeah, that's how long ago it was.
Okay, so my story I was saying earlier about the like I really liked what Chris was saying about how there's elements to this that are so outlandish that it makes it interesting to listen to, right?
Yes.
Not enjoyable.
I think that I would
Just
definitely
interesting.
listen to this than something that doesn't have the one like annoying grating thing to it you know, that like Lou Reed is ruining this for this album for sure. However, I think I would rather listen to this than something that maybe is mixed really well, that sounds good, but just overall, it's just less than enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like,
You know what?
like it's, do you know what I'm saying?
If this was just this music, this album would be boring enough to kill you. And if it was just Lou Reed, it would be even worse.
Yes.
But together, it's weird enough to keep you going through it
Right.
somehow.
Like I was thinking about like one of the albums that I got from those metal things was, and I'm curious to see what you're going to think about this.
I'm fascinated.
But one of the albums was an album by a little old band called Job for a Cowboy.
Oh, which one was it?
Oh,
It was
that
the one
sounds
with
familiar.
some horrific image on the front or something.
Yeah, I liked one Job for a Cowboy album I liked a lot. It was the last one, Sun Eater. I thought was really good.
Anyway,
It was probably Doom, and a lot of people really liked that record. I never got into it.
and I put it in and I was listening to it and I was like, this is not for me. This is like, a lot of this is not, Ruination is the one I have.
So where was that in the discography? Go back to the...
Whoops. Use Some. Their second album. 2009.
The greatest disappointment.
Oh, maybe Genesis was one of the big ones. Sun Eater is really cool. I think that you might actually like Sun Eater.
Maybe. But I was listening to it and I was just like, wow. I'm not ashamed to admit that like some metal is just like too heavy for me. But I think it's
Same.
pretty rare that I come across something like that.
Yeah.
But also, it's very rare that this happens. But I was reading the lyrics along with it, and I was just like, this makes me uncomfortable.
That's what metal's supposed to do.
Yeah, but it was in a way that I'm like, it's kind of ruining it for me. And so I was like, I'm good, and I put it away, whatever. I put it on my shelf. And I was just thinking to myself, like, I would probably rather listen to this than something like that. Because I feel like the things that I didn't like about that, like, sort of supersede the thing that I don't like about this. Not that there's just one thing about this that I don't like, because I think that they're repetitive.
Unless it's the thing itself.
Other than just Lou Reed. The repetitiveness of the drawn out. And there's no reason this song needs to be 20 minutes.
No, he has said almost less. I think less in this song so far.
Right,
than he
we've
has
gotten
so
more
far.
Metallica
And like
this
this,
song.
I mean, but this little motif that they're doing right now, they've done it a lot, and it's like not interesting.
Right, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not something to write home
It's
about.
like you've given Metallica an opportunity to do a music part of this album. Why don't they do something with it?
Well, yeah, like if there was a sweet guitar solo over this, that'd be fine.
Oh, 100%.
But
And hopefully we get that because Kirk is credited. But like,
I think he already did it.
Well, we're already halfway. We're halfway
like a
through,
couple
so
lead
we got plenty of
notes
song
in there.
left.
oh my God, you're right. We're only halfway. Oh,
But anyway, that's interesting that you kind of said that thing about Job for a Cowboy, because I know that feeling that you felt. And I remember feeling that feeling at least twice, pretty specifically. Once I remember exactly where I was, and the other, like, I can very clearly see the band that was playing. This was like before I was like really a metalhead. And I remember like being like legitimately scared because I did not understand what I was seeing or hearing, and it was very scary to me.
Were you hanging out with Austin?
No.
That's a joke for Patrick.
yeah. I was gonna say yes. That would.
You know, I see
never-
some of the weird crap that I look at on Instagram, and I see that Austin already liked it, and I'm like, okay, maybe I should have spent more time with
You
Austin.
couldn't go too hard for Austin. You couldn't
I
go
know.
too hard.
That's
Impossible.
kind of what I'm sort of like that too.
But the fun,
I
I will say the fun thing about Austin, just real quick, which people don't know, he was a friend of ours, sort of collectively. But
He
you and
is. He continues to.
Chris never really got together too much.
No, a little bit.
But you saw him a little bit here and there, and
I
you
showed him
guys,
Ghost.
and you guys did both sing
Nice.
on my I'm a Little Wolf Inside a Girl song,
Yes.
which we have on my channel here.
Is that on your channel?
With the actual anime intro. It's got like 7,000 views because people like the anime. Yeah, and the link, I believe, to download the full song is still there as well. But anyway,
I played some terrible guitar on that.
anyway, the fun thing about I love the solo. I love
Did I write
the
it?
solo. Yeah. Yes, I love it. But anyway, the thing about Austin, this friend that we're talking about, he's a drummer. And so like he kind of approaches his love of everything from drums first. And so the more extreme the metal, the more extreme the drumming, the more he loved it.
Yes.
Even though he definitely couldn't duplicate a lot of that stuff. But like,
Hey, I want to clear up something
Yeah.
because I'm a metal elitist guy here. It was right when the first Ghost album came out, because that first Ghost album is like top tier awesome. Everything else that happened after that was a slow decline, and then now it's completely a dumpster fire.
and
but
Ghost, definitely a band I would like to do here on the channel.
that Opus Anonymous, Opus Eponymous, is that how you say that word? That record is so
Hip Hop Anonymous.
Hip Hop Anonymous.
Is it more of like a metal album? Because I know
No.
that later on they become more of a.
I mean, it's stylistically it more fits into what metal people can listen to than now, where it's just radio garbage.
So you heard it here first, folks. Ghost. It's not metal.
Radio garbage.
Radio garbage.
The first record, I think, fits in with the metal zeitgeist, but
Is this just going to be a string quartet here
skate.
for?
there are string players credited on this. Several of them, a viola and a cello, and
Now, what were you going to say, Chris?
about Austin.
I went and saw a band with him once called KO Dot. And the whole time, it was like right before, like, when all of the string members in an orchestra sit down and they're just like each playing their own little ditties and you know, and they're just all kind of fudging around before they even do like their tuning A, and like the whole band was that, and I was like, what
Kind of like this.
the hell is happening? No, because this is at least they're all playing a thing. But this was just, it was like, are these people all practicing different songs at once? Like that's what it felt like.
And that was probably the whole set, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the most Austin
Yeah.
thing on earth.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. He did really do like, and you know, it's funny too. 'Cause that's so funny you say that, because one of the albums that this album has made me think of while we were listening to it, not stylistically at all, but I was trying to debate in my head, like, would I rather listen to this or would I rather listen to this other thing? Because I have one album by a band called Unexpect. They're called, and they're very like circus avant-garde. And I heard one of their songs and I was like, I love everything I'm hearing. It's like piano-y, circusy, very technical guitar bass, drums, vocals.
Yeah.
Vocals done by a lady, clean vocals.
By a lady.
Right.
Lady
And so,
A semenless lady?
yeah, I was to say no sperm.
Oh, spermless.
All
That's
dried
what-
up.
That's what it was. Spermless.
but anyway,
Like a girl.
when I got the album and I started listening to it, there's no structuring, right? So like every song, it's totally avant-garde.
Yeah.
Like it's avant-garde, progressive. Like maybe I should try listening to it again now. But like I can't make it through more than like 2 songs.
Yeah, I believe it.
It's just like it's just chaos, and I can't make it through it. And so I was thinking to myself, like, would I rather sit down and listen to this or that Unexpect album? And I couldn't come up with an answer, but probably this, I would think. So, but hey, you told me in the last video that I should be forced to listen to 10,000 hours of classical music.
Yeah, it's good for you.
Well, I'm halfway done.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, that kind
Do
of
you
hurt
not
my
like classical
feelings,
music?
because you know that I went and recorded tons
Gee,
of
but
symphonies
you
and
weren't
orchestras.
listening, though.
I was listening, and I was like, I was gonna bring that all up, but then I was like, whatever, you don't care, and we're all just joking around anyway. But like, as part of my job at the recording studio I used to work at, we would go and record. We would record college choirs and bands, and we would record this Omaha Symphony playing in small venues and the biggest venue we have in Nebraska, doing, you know, stuff from everything. You know, Mahler, Dvorak, Beethoven, obviously. You know, all of them. All of them. I heard things from everywhere. Dvorak I really liked a lot. And Prokofiev. He was my favorite symphony we listened to. Was Prokofiev's like third symphony.
That was the first time that I experienced open back headphones, and I never went back.
You were just talking about that, right?
We were just talking about that before we started.
Are you listening to open back headphones right now?
I sure am.
What ones are they?
They're the Sennheiser HD 600s. Yeah.
I think those are similar to the ones we had at the studio that Cleet would use when we went to record.
I need to get myself a pair. I did some headphone comparisons the other day, and I listened to a pair.
Tell everybody about that. That's a really cool class you had.
No, at school we hooked up. I think we had 11 different brands and models of headphones. And we had them all playing the same stuff, so we just played a game where we just played some songs and we walked around and listened to one for a little while and then switched to another one. And it is absolutely mind-blowing. And what was sort of interesting to me is that you always hear, like, it's really important to listen to your stuff on more than one set of speakers or to have two sets of speakers in your studio. I mean, duh. But, like, it's so much more inexpensive and easier and smaller, and you can put it in a backpack. I have 2 or 3 different pairs of headphones that are wildly different. Closed back, open back, expensive, cheap, blah, blah, blah. And like the different stuff that you hear, like listening to those things through different lenses, it is just like, I mean, I spent like 45 minutes like with my mouth open, like, I can't believe that these sound like this. You know, like I'm listening to the same song I was 30 seconds ago, and it's so cool.
I love them because like I wear them all day, like 8 hours a day. You know, I'm making stuff all day long, and it just the claustrophobia.
Wait, do you have
of closed
monitors?
Headphones. I do, but I design in headphones. I mix in the speakers, but it's a lot easier to design with headphones on, I think.
I've lately been becoming more reliant on headphones, partially because of being on this channel and like living in them so much. And at school too, I usually spend an hour or two a day, and then several days a week in them.
Yeah.
And like today I mixed and did a bunch of weird crap, and I did it all in my headphones. I barely had my monitors on at all, and there are advantages.
You ever heard of a website called Soundgym.io?
Oh my god, I wanted to talk about Soundgym tonight. Have you been playing?
I love Soundgym. I was hitting it hard like 2 years ago, just every day. It helped a lot, learning so much about how stuff sounds.
Learning stuff about yourself. I have taken some very strange walks through my own brain while playing Soundgym. Soundgym.
Like GYM?
Yeah, and so it's this audio game where there's all these different exercises that you do, and you have to do stuff like match the EQ curve. You hear what's been EQ'd, and then you have 2 filters, and you have to try to match it as close as you can. Or you're doing a compression one where you have to pick if the attack time is 10 milliseconds or 75 milliseconds. And like,
I don't think I could do it.
And like stereo width, where it's like you get,
the
you
stereo
hear a thing,
width.
and it's like, what is the width on this? I actually do pretty well with that.
I do terrible at that. And it makes you
crap
think.
With this compressor one though.
The compressor one I'm okay at, but the stereo width thing, is this crap over yet? So we can talk about something interesting.
That's the end.
Okay. Anyway,
and it really did. It just did that string thing for 8 minutes.
So
it was easy for us to talk over.
But one of the things that's really interesting about that. Whatever, we listened to an album. It's a Metallica album. Fight me.
Sort of.
Yeah. But it makes you think, like, because I had the one where there's like 4 tracks and you listen to the mix and then you have to match the mix, but you don't get to go back and listen to the original one. Yeah. That should be so easy. Like when I read the description of that game and I'm like, that's all you got to do. I'm like, this is going to be a piece of cake. And then I epically screwed it up. And like, cause it like forces you to focus on one aspect of sound, which I never do. Like when we listen to this stuff, like my brain is jumping around. I'm like, oh, what's that guitar part playing? And then, oh, let me think about the sound of the kick drum. Oh, and how thin are those overheads? Are they really thin? Is there a lot of compression on this vocal? Is that vocal dark or is it dry? Oh yeah, but there's that guitar part is still playing. Is the bass playing the same thing? Like that's what my brain does. But on that, where you have to just like focus on like, okay, I have to think about how that kick drum feels in my skull. And I really have to concentrate on that feeling because I'm going to switch and I'm going to have to go match that feeling. And where is it in relationship to, oh my God. And when you're really bad at them, it's like getting hit with a baseball bat. I'm like, God, I don't listen to anything.
Yeah. It's like, what do I even do all day? Like,
Do you still have a membership?
it might have lapsed, but
We get it through
it
school
wouldn't-
now, and I'm so I did it for probably over an hour today. I played Soundgym.
it's what a tool, man. You
That
will get
sounds like something I would do very poorly at.
It's-
and
but
make me
it's
feel really
so
bad.
much. You get so much better at so many things so fast.
I could see that.
The
I could see
stereo
that.
width thing, I was super happy because I never think about that. Like, because when it makes you think about the way that you work, because like, whatever, when I think about painting, I think about painting guitars a lot. And right, like I'm just trying to paint a picture. And when I'm doing it in the verse, I'm like, well, I'm probably going to want to go wider in the chorus. So I'm not going to go all the way. I'll save all the way for the chorus or whatever, and I know that the work that you do is completely different, but like, so I don't ever really think about that, and stereo stuff freaks me out for all sorts of reasons. But doing that and like then going and watching my graph about how bad I am at stereo width, the Soundgym thing is so cool. It has
It's so
made me
cool.
very sad thinking that like my brain is rotted and my ears are completely decrepit.
Well, just
but-
keep at it, and you'll get better.
Well, your brain will get better, your ears won't. But I
Right.
realized that a lot of the problem is like, because I was missing when I first started playing some of those EQ things. Soundgym. Hit us up, sponsor us, give Patrick a membership. So he
Yeah,
can
no
play.
joke. No one's ever said that about Soundgym. Get over here. Let us know.
But the EQ thing, like the first couple times I was playing it, and I haven't played it that much. I have like an SPI of like 350 or something right now.
I'll have to look at what mine
I
is
haven't
if I
played
can
that
still see
much.
it.
But I was missing all these high frequency things, and it made me very, very sad.
Ooh, that's the sad maker. Yeah.
Right? But then I started thinking about it, and I played again today, and I got it. But like I thought about how I perceive things, and because of the work that I've done, whatever, the entirety of it, I mean, all of the action in audio, and this is a fact, happens between 300 hertz and 3 kilohertz. That's where all the action is. The other stuff is salt and pepper to make it nice. But I like mentally, and this is the scary walks through my brain that I have to do, I ignore those changes in high frequency because I'm just not looking up there. And like, I actually like, it's an image in my mind that like, I have to stop looking here and I visualize it all in a frequency response chart because that's how my brain works. But I actually have to remember to look up the chart to the high frequency to actually hear those. And when I don't hear a change, when I switch back and forth, I'm like, oh crap, it's either way low or way high. And I'm just not paying attention. And I'm like, look up way high. Okay, there it is. And I get it. But God, it's cool.
I wish I'd done it a little bit more recently so I could dive into stuff, because that reminds me of like, it's like, oh, I barely recognized a change, then it's going to be 10 plus. Like it narrows the spot, so much depending on where it's at. And like, and for the perspective thing, like the stereo width thing is so much more important for me. Like I cut all my chops on that podcast, and the way that it was presented, like, you've got it's D&D. And so as a listener, you're not playing it. And so to me, it was like, I need to create a fixed perspective as if somebody was watching all of these things happen. And that made it really easy to like, travel would go from left to right, and you've got dragons like moving around. There's just a lot of panning work to fill out the space as a static viewer of the thing that's happening. And then in game audio, if you have stuff that's like really heavy, like left, right, especially if you're doing 3D stuff with attenuation, it's like this thing's moving around and the sound needs to reflect positioning. If it's a really, really wide stereo pan, then it's going to be kind of tough to hear a thing being where it is, because it's like it kind of futzes with the positioning a little bit, but it works a lot better if it's narrower. And I don't want to go full mono because then you lose a lot of fidelity and stuff, even though it does happen sometimes. But yeah, perspective is such a huge part of figuring out how you want the stereo image to work. And I think that did a lot for helping me get a lot better at that early on.
And like, right. And even the brain thing about putting it into the numbers that you have to for the game. Because like, when I think about that, like panning is a great example. Like I just think about like, whatever, I envision I have like a curved band in front of my face and I can put stuff where I want it. But then to like because sometimes I think about the stuff at the back of my head too, and then to put it at like, what does 40% actually mean on this game? And now I have a spot in my brain where I think I know where 40-ish% is, but oh my God.
I'd probably put that like right there.
Well, yeah, and then your headphones aren't on quite right, and I want to say at some point during this video, I got my headphones on better than I've had them on in 2 years. I'm
Because
always
of
futzing
Soundgym?
with them. I can't believe anybody hasn't commented on that because I'm like always trying to.
You
trying
do
to get
move
them
them
on.
around a lot, but I thought a lot of that was because sometimes you like to take off one ear and just like
Oh, I don't
do that on purpose.
I don't do that when we're listening to this kind of stuff. But like I got them positioned just right, and I really had the stereo. Oh, they're pretty good right now. Where the stereo image is actually like here, because sometimes like even just my headphone being off a little bit,
Oh, interesting.
I'm like, oh, that has to be wider in stereo, and it's because I don't have the same frequency response in each ear. I mean, also my ears are damaged differently.
See, that's a problem for me because I have sinus issues all the time.
I just got
Sometimes
over
you're
some
just
crap.
like, the kick drum is just off to the left, and I'm looking at it and it's at 0. It's panned to 0, but it's over here. So it's just like my ear is just messed up on this side, you know?
Just like this morning or yesterday, the left side of my face finally cleared out and things sound like sound again. But
You know, since you guys are talking about all this stuff and I don't really understand any of it, which is great. I love it. I'm
Let's stop
glad
the
you guys
video.
did that. But no, I was just going to say I did a reaction the other day to a band that I talked about with you, Chris, called Bear Ghost. Someone recommended them in one of our comments. And I was like, I was laying in bed and I didn't have my CD player, hasn't been working for a long time. So I've been forced to listen to Spotify off my tablet, which has been good because I've been able to eliminate albums from our top 12 list contenders. But, which by the way, Tesseract, you guys both familiar, I'm assuming, with that band, even though you don't necessarily
little.
probably like. Tesseract's album is like maybe 20 is an exaggeration, 15 dB too low on Spotify. It's like they uploaded the wrong file. I mean, straight up, just like,
and they got
not
punished for it.
intentional, just like,
15's a lot.
oh, it's unlistenable. You couldn't have in one of their songs. Maybe they fixed it by now, but I went and listened to it like the day after it came out, and I was just like, well, I'll give this a shot, and it was unlistenable. It was so I couldn't even turn my tablet up loud enough to hear it. It was terrible. So that's
crazy.
That's someone screwing up which file they were supposed to upload. But I like to point that stuff out because it happens, you know. But anyway, this Bear Ghost thing, I wish we could listen to a little bit of it now, but I don't have it. But it's mixed in a very interesting way because it's very circusy, and so there's like or carnival-y, I guess. But there's a lot of instruments and things happening, and there's lots of moments where the song kind of like stops, and then there's like little fluctuations of like different instruments and stuff. There's a lot of instruments in every song. But one of the things that was the strangest to me, the entire album, every crash hit is either far left, far left, or far right. Like spread as the farthest thing you hear, far left or far right, are the crash cymbals. And it's like the guy must have had 2 crash cymbals, and the only way I can think that they did it was to close mic them. But like the hi-hat and everything, not all the cymbals, but it's incredibly weird. However, it sounds fantastic in the mix. It totally works because there's so many things inside the spectrum, inside of those 100% left, 100% right, that having those bursts of high frequency there, mostly their crashes they're just being used as crashes, like accents on the beginning of measures.
Yeah.
There's really not very many parts where they're like, you know, riding on the crash or whatever. So like, it was a very strange thing though. And you guys were talking about the stereo spectrum there, and now that made me think about that. So shout out to the guy who recommended Bear Ghost. That reaction should be coming out on the channel pretty soon.
Nice.
All right, though, we can take and end this
wrap it
video
up.
before we get to 3 hours, which is nice. We don't really have any closing thoughts on this because I feel like we talked about it enough while it was going on.
We did.
Part of me
never listen to this again.
Part of me regrets doing this just because I do feel like it was kind of. I feel like maybe we reacted a little bit to it the first couple songs, and then after that it was just kind of like, well, this is our lives for the next hour and a half, you know.
I thought it was. I mean, I think this is far and away the funniest episode we have. Like this is.
Do you think?
This was this whole thing
Okay.
was joke hour. I love that about it.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, I agree. And honestly, like even that last song there was pretty nice because Lou Reed shut up for most of it.
Yeah,
And I don't
but
mind
then
to
it
talk
was the
about
something.
Then it was
stupid
just- yeah.
string motif for 6 minutes.
Then it was
like,
just more than that.
And we got to talk about other stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So so
It's
thank
not the worst thing ever. I don't think it deserves all the hate that it gets.
I
Most of the
Hold
hate,
on.
not most, a certain percentage of the hate that I've been throwing at it has been for, for yucks, but, and like in the, the classic yuck laugh style, not the gross yuck style,
Yes.
but I do absolutely hate it. It's not without merit in a couple of different ways. Like there's, Metallica's doing something that I can hear and therefore it is not at a 0.
and it's produced well.
And it's very,
It
yes,
does
it's
sound
produced
good.
well. And really, if that weird old man hadn't wandered in from the street and nobody told him to leave, I wouldn't mind listening to it.
Here's the thing I was trying to debate about just now. I always say, right, that I would rather listen to a well-produced, poorly written song rather than
Here's the hot moment of the video.
Time for
3
the money
hours
mouth
in.
transaction. Here we
right.
go.
Okay, so let's bring up the question. Would I live up to that and rather listen to this than Saint Anger?
Yeah, if you had to rank this and Saint Anger, where do they go?
This is going to be a bullshit. Before
I-
you speak, this is going to be some bullshit hot take, clickbait mess. I hear it comes.
No hot take. I'm seriously just thinking about it right now. Like, I despise Saint Anger because it had potential and that it didn't live up to.
That does make it hurt more.
Whereas this, I feel like, lived up to be like this was bad. This was just straight up bad. However, for what was being done, I don't know if it could have been done any better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Here's what this is. There's an episode. There's a weird Top Gear one-off where they did a rating of the worst car of all time, and the criteria was effectively it wasn't just what is the worst car ever. What is the worst car made by the best manufacturer who absolutely should have known better, and they did this.
Great
thing
episode. Great episode.
Anyway. Yep.
Of
And
real Top
that-
Gear? Of like the original Top Gear?
Real British.
Yeah.
I
and
don't
it's-
remember that one.
It's a weird one-off where it's
It was some
just
kind of a van
Jeremy
thing,
and
right?
James. It's a van.
Wasn't-
oh no,
wasn't
it was it was the Lexus SC430 was the winner because it's just so banal and beige, ugly. It's not a nice place to be. Is it better than like some Russian trash from the Soviet Union? Absolutely, but nobody expects that to be good.
Right.
Yeah,
Lexus has made some of the best cars of all time, and then they this lump, and it's like this is worse because the expectation
lump.
is
Do I have to edit out the word
No.
you do not
I think
because
I
it has
do.
an A in it.
It's the past tense of right?
Gotta edit
It
that
is
one.
it is a tense.
Yeah, I do. But okay.
But yeah, and so it's like they picked that one because it's like what these people can do is so up here, and then they still gave us this, and I think that's exactly what you're talking about.
you just
where it
described
was like,
Metallica in a
Yeah,
nutshell.
that is Metallica.
The thing is, though,
the
like
potential of Saint Anger is high, and then it hurts because we know that Metallica can make some ripping music.
that's
but
exactly the
Lou-
thing I was coming down on. Like,
But this mess here with Lou Reed, nobody went in. Lou Reed, Metallica, well, that can't be any good. And then you listen to it, you're like, see?
right. But like I said, like they executed it as good as I feel like it could have been executed
Exactly.
for people who were trying to do what they did. Whereas the exact opposite is true for Saint Anger, right? The execution is done basically as poorly as humanly possible. And the thing
And
is,
it still is awesome.
the thing is that I think that frustrates me more than this. Because like this is something I wouldn't choose to put on, but I wouldn't necessarily ever want to. Whereas I could walk around in the middle of the day and be like, "Oh, I should listen to Saint." No, I can't. You know what I mean? Like I'll be walking around doing the dishes or whatever, and I think, "Fran, tick 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 tick." No, stop it! You don't want to listen to that song. You just think you do. You know what I mean? So it's like, to me, that is a more like egregious failure than this. Because this isn't really a failure, it's just a bad idea. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense.
Good
right?
idea, failed. Bad idea, succeed.
Yeah.
It's a successful bad idea.
So, with that, we can end the video there. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Make sure you stick around on the channel, like, subscribe, do all that stuff, because you don't want to miss our Halloween video. We're going to have a lot of fun like we had today. We'll probably talk over a lot of the music just because we're going to have fun, right? We're going to have fun, and I'm doing a lot of extra stuff. So I want everybody to check out our Halloween special. And then after that, the next big video we're going to do is Hardwired to Self-Destruct. We are going to finish Metallica's studio albums, ladies and gentlemen, this year. No matter what happens, we are finishing it this year. Now, that doesn't include Garage and S&M. We'll do that later. And then maybe we'll tack on some live videos because I want to react to the Moscow videos, some other live things. But we'll keep doing Metallica stuff here and there, but we're going to shift focus next year, if we're still doing this by then, which probably we will be, to other things. So, yeah. So Hardwired is coming, people. I promise. That's the thing people have been asking for more than anything else. And so hopefully that video and this video get lots of views because our last few Metallica videos have just been like getting less than 10,000. So, which is still a lot for me, but if you go back, watch Load, Reload, Black Album, we're getting really close to 40,000. So.
Okay.
Oh, we forgot to tell everybody about your band's new song.
Oh, yeah.
We'll wait and do it during the Metallica or during the Rob Zombie thing.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, everyone, very much for watching. Thank you for being in the premiere. We will see you all next time.
Have your pet spayed or neutered.
Or don't have a pet at all.